Good morning. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. We'll get to that a bit later. The scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. And if you're headed over to your neighborhood Glory Days Grill today, you can find Goose Light. It's not Goose Light, although I've had people suggest that we should have done Goose Light. No, it's, of course, Goose Flight's Lager. Available in cans at all of the Maryland locations of Glory Days Grill. Also available in cans at Alonzo's on Cold Spring Lane. The Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton. Available in cans and six-packs at Guilford Hall Brewery. As well as at Costas Inn in Dundalk. Available in six-packs and cases at the Wine Source in Hamden. And coming soon, perhaps, to another distributor, store, restaurant, even closer to you. Working on that. Goose Flights continues the legacy of the great Tony Siragusa, as $1.98 from every can sold goes to the Goose Flights Foundation and the work they're doing to provide non-emergency medical transport for those in need. Coming up in a bit, Drew Forrester will join us in studio. We will have I think will be a rousing version of That's What's Wrong with This Country, because I had more that I wrote down 3.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things going on that are
there are things that I'm very bad
problematic
at.
In this country.
Like we do segments on the radio show, Rita and I do, and every week I say to myself, I got to remember, like we do a Twitter segment, and then I see hilarious tweets during the course of the week, and I forget to click like so that I can save them.
The bookmark feature now, so.
Whenever it is.
Okay.
I don't care. I just... something that reminds me what the tweet is. So then I get to the day. So like this week we're doing the show tomorrow, and then we're doing another one on Sunday.
Whoa!
And I realized
a lot of Glenn Clark in our
this
lives.
morning, I haven't liked any tweets. I've seen plenty of hilarious tweets. I just forget to like them, like a big dumb idiot. So I don't want that to be the case for That's What's Wrong with This Country. If we're gonna do it, I want to do it. I want to do it. By the way, I might repeat. I might bring something up, and That's What's Wrong in This Country and on the radio show tomorrow. Different audience. It is what it is. Deal with it. If it's too much me, there's plenty of other options. Turn on the Golf Channel or something. I don't know what to tell you. But we'll get into that. Also this morning, in just a couple of minutes, PressBox's Bo Smolka will check in with us. He was at Zach Orr's press conference. And later on in the program, David Schoenfield from ESPN.com, and ESPN MLB writer and analyst. Talked to him about some of the things he had to say about the Orioles post-Corbin Burnes trade. Are they the team to beat in the American League now? We'll talk about all of those things during the course of the program. What we won't talk much about is the Maryland basketball game from last night, because if you listen to Patrick Stevens...
Yeah,
you hit the under.
Would have made some money.
So the guy doesn't even like gambling. He doesn't even have any interest in gambling whatsoever.
That's like the only lean he's ever given out.
I would say
spot on.
I don't know that he's opposed to it. Like, I don't think he cares if people gamble or not. I know as a fact he's never gambled in his life. I know Patrick well. He doesn't do that. And it's not just because, like, he works and he covers sports, and so you're not supposed. It's like it's a personal thing for him. There's no interest in it whatsoever. And yet the first thing he said when we brought up Maryland Rutgers, I'd bet the under.
Don't know what the number's at, but...
Yep. And we looked it up and we said, wow, it's 127.5. That's a small number. Under hit with ease. With ease. The only thing that was going to be interesting was if, Jameer Young had hoisted a 3 at the end and they had forced overtime, and then there would have been danger for the under. But they didn't.
But there's obviously no threat of that.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like, I said this last night. Most people don't care about Maryland basketball this season. So, as you could tell by the fact that nobody was at the game last night, you could say that perhaps it's not the end of the world because of that. Hey, nobody cares, so who cares they lost? But everything to this point this season had been potentially excusable. Maryland wasn't going to get to the end of the year and make the NCAA tournament. That wasn't going to happen. It's a weird bit where you can't really declare a team dead unless they're, like, say, Louisville, DePaul. Like, short of that, any team that's floating around 500 into February, you can't say that they're dead, right? Because you can always go on some sort of run and, be that team that gets hot going into March. But there was no reasonable scenario, as we talked about. There was no scenario where you could see Maryland. They didn't have enough left that they could accomplish. Patrick brought that up yesterday. They had one, particularly meaningful game left on the docket. That would be a road win at Wisconsin. And road wins at Wisconsin and Illinois are good, but not alone would a tournament resume make. And that was if they didn't stub their toe. And they still didn't have enough. They would still need to have gone on some sort of torrid stretch. It's over. They're not making the NCAA tournament, short of them somehow winning the Big Ten tournament.
They're not making it unless.
I mean, that's always the path for everybody. The problem was that last night was the type of thing that now you can't continue to believe that it's all good. If Maryland goes through a season, doesn't suffer an ungodly home loss, comes up short of the tournament but wins more games than they lose and mixes in a couple of good wins during the process, then you get to the end of the year and you can say, all right, this was a downer, but that's fine. You get to try to prove that you can turn it around next year. I don't think that it's really crazy to me how good I felt about the program going into this season and now where I feel at this point, which is I'm not sure there's something happening there. I'm not. It's funny because the stuff we knew from a year ago, they couldn't win on the road. They had to win in a very specific way, but they were figuring out ways to do it, particularly at home, and that was all good. You knew that wasn't sustainable long term to make a program succeed, but it was okay because it was what was happening in year one. In year one, the expectations were so low that by accomplishing that, you were surpassing reasonable expectations. But you had to build off of that moving forward. This is ungodly. It's unwatchable. It's been unwatchable all season. And the biggest issue, and the moment that made me, this is not me saying you have to fire Kevin Willard because that's not even plausible at this point. Deshaun Harris-Smith being so lost that when the game was at stake, they fell behind by 9, and it looked like it was over, and then all of a sudden, thanks in part to a technical foul, they're right back in it, and Deshaun Harris-Smith is wide open to try to knock down a 3 that would tie the game, and he is so rattled and so lost as a basketball player that he refused to take the shot, which then led to another freshman, Jamie Kaiser, throwing the ball away. That sequence and how completely unprepared the freshmen are for this moment right now, how lost they appear to be, is ungodly alarming. And maybe the answer is they're the wrong players, or maybe they just aren't players that are going to figure it out until, deeper into their careers, or at this point, this is college basketball, somewhere else. But these were your guys. They were the ones. And you knew, based on roster construction, they were going to have to play. And so now, either one of two things. Either your eye for talent is problematic, and in fairness, Kevin Willard wasn't the only one that thought these guys were basketball players, or the development is terrifying. And there's no way around that. There's no way of, hey, you're being too critical. No. This is the way that college basketball works. If you're going to have, you can say, well, this is why coaches only want to go to the portal. They only want guys with experience. Well, then you better damn well be good at portaling. You better be the greatest portaler there's ever been. Jordan Geronimo hasn't done much. The freshmen that you decide are going to be basketball players have to be capable of being basketball players. We're not going to wake up one day and there's suddenly going to be a wildly veteran roster of talented, good players at the University of Maryland. This is college basketball now. Every now and then you have like an Armando Bacot who sticks around for a while. You have a very unique situation with like Zach Edey where nobody thinks he's going to be a good NBA player, but he's the greatest college basketball player, like just because of his size. Those things happen from time to time, but it's rare. That's the exception to the rule. Obviously, very fortunate for those programs. There's a reason why Carolina and Purdue are among the best teams in the country this year, because they have the incredible fortune of having high-level players who stuck around for a little while. But that's rare. Freshmen and the portal. I mean, Julian Reese might be that guy for Maryland. There's certainly no signs of him being ready to go to a next level. I don't know anymore what the difference is between what Julian Reese can make, in NIL money. I don't think it's robust at the moment from the support from the University of Maryland fan base versus, and he might end up being, maybe, he looks at the transfer portal as an option for him because there's NIL money to be had somewhere else, adding to a better team. I don't know. But maybe he sticks around and can be that guy for Maryland at some point. We'll see. But you've got to be able to have your freshmen play. You built the roster. They can't play. Deshaun Harris-Smith had a wide-open look in the most critical point of the game. Wide open. And by the way, the answer might be that he shouldn't have shot the ball because he's not good at that. But that's the alarming. The alarming part is, how is he on the floor if he can't be trusted? And you can say because there aren't other good options. There's no getting around it. I'm not. This is not. The lazy thing is, well, you got to fire Kevin Willett. It's not that. It don't work like that. It's college basketball, man. You got somebody who's going to foot the bill. What, do you get a 7-year contract, something like that? But this is the reality. The reality is, unfortunately for him, the success that he found in year 1 set the tone for the expectation in year 2. Perhaps if they had bottomed out last year, the expectation wouldn't be there. Now, I don't know how they would recruit on that. Like, I don't know how you would get anybody that would want to sign up to be a part of it. But if they had bottomed out last year, we would have all said, okay, well, I guess technically this is progress. This is the opposite of that. And with the foundation that was laid, that shouldn't be the case. And I get it. It hurts to lose all of your assistant coaches. And maybe somebody would say that has something to do with the development issue that they're finding this year. But none of it is acceptable. There's that part of this. The results, bad. But that part were the two guys that were really, and we said this at the beginning of the year when we had these conversations, this team will go as these freshmen prove capable of moving forward. And the answer has been 0. Jamie Kaiser was kind of helpful against Nebraska, the game where you least needed help from freshmen. So you want to say it's been 0.2. You can have 0.2. Nothing. And that is alarming. It's stunning. It almost feels impossible that these two key pieces could be this unhelpful this deep in the season. Like, if they weren't coached at all, you would think that they would just sort of be a little more helpful than this. It's staggering how bad it is with these freshmen. I don't know what the big picture answer is because you're not firing the coach. But the reality is it's going to be much more difficult. Now you're putting yourself in a situation where you almost have to pull off miracles because the fan base is checked out again. That didn't take long. You just lost at home to Rutgers. You scored 56 points at home against Rutgers.
Scored 53.
Sorry, thank you.
They let up 56.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
You scored 53 points. It's worse. It's beyond a problem. It's horrifying, and it's nightmarish because the new coach was supposed to be the answer.
So do we still trust Kevin? I mean, I guess
No.
we really don't have a
No.
choice. We don't
No,
have a choice.
there's no trust. It's just it's hope. You hope that he figures it out. And again, I got bamboozled, man. I was willing to believe that was what we saw a year ago. That was the base level. You know, like it can only go up from here. The thing with the freshmen, again, the results are what they are. The thing with the freshmen is as alarming as it gets because it makes you wonder if anyone's going to be capable of developing. Like, ever. And I know that's hyperbolic. I understand that. But we can only deal with what we're dealing with. Dante Scott has been worse. I guess somebody would argue that maybe Jameer Young has developed, but Jameer Young was a hell of a player at Charlotte. Tell me what makes me think that this coach is capable of developing a player here so far. That's the reality. Like, that's what you're dealing with. And, again, he'll get another opportunity. They're not going to fire the guy, but there is going to be no juice. And that's going to mean fewer people that want to help out with NIL money. It's going to mean fewer interest in selling tickets and creating atmospheres. I mean, this is you're looking for basically a miracle at this point, or it just might be a repeat of the last situation that Maryland had, and it might be lather, rinse, repeat in a couple of years. Fun times for Maryland basketball fans. Let's switch it up. It's a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of GCR. On yesterday, that wasn't Monday, it was yesterday. Yes. The Baltimore Ravens held a press conference to introduce Zach Orr as their new defensive coordinator. Last Friday, they had their season-ending press conference with John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta. Joining us now to tell us about all of those things, he is PressBox Ravens beat writer, Mr. Bo Smolka, back with us here on the program. Bo, it's Glenn. It's always good to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
You bet, Glenn. Thanks.
So I know that it's difficult, when you do one of these introductory press conferences, what's somebody going to say? Hey, I think we're going to be good at defense, right? It's not a whole lot. Was there anything in particular? We all know that it's a great story of Zach Orr's rise from the end of his career to now becoming a defensive coordinator at a young age. But was there anything particularly interesting to you that stood out from his press conference yesterday?
Well, first of all, I couldn't be there. To full disclosure, I teach on Tuesday that afternoon, so I had conflict. I couldn't be there, so I watched it and I read it, transcript of it. So just to be clear, I was not there. But I mean, obviously, he was asked, and he should have been asked about the calling plays. Right, that's one of the big questions. You have no experience calling plays. Is that going to be a problem? And he said, well, it's something that you think about when you're an assistant coach, and it's a collaborative effort, he called it, that they all kind of talk about what the play calls would be. Ultimately, it'll be the coordinator's call, and now it's up to him, and I think that's pressure on him. And he also very candidly said he's got to hire some coaches. This defensive staff has kind of gotten pillaged. So he knows that, and those are important hires for this team. I mean, it's I think he's under quite a bit of pressure here because obviously he's coming off a year where Mike McDonald had a sensational defense, and you could be losing a lot of key players off that defense. You've already lost 3 coaches off that defense. So it's a tough spot for Zach Orr, but he's highly regarded in the building. People have thought for a long time he's head coach material, and now it's his time.
So I guess as you bring up the coaching thing, I guess the next question is, Bo, it's not just the staff that's been pillaged. I feel like that there is a scenario where all of a sudden there's a lot more competition for the guys that are on that side of the ball. Not to say there wasn't going to be competition already, but we've seen this a million times where a coach departs, and when he goes somewhere else, he'd like to have some of his pieces. I feel like that, the path to trying to retain some of these free agents beyond, whoever you might franchise tag, and I think most of us are assuming that's Justin Madubuike, has gotten all that much more difficult because all of these coaches are going to be all over the place trying to get some of the pieces that worked with them in Baltimore.
Oh, I think that's definitely true. And obviously cost will be a factor, and some guys are going to be priced out of Baltimore just by who they have and what kind of room they have, and other teams might have more room, and that's that. But to your point, you're right. I mean, let's say Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney worked with Anthony Weaver in Houston. Now he's worked with him in Baltimore. He may want to go back and work with him in Miami. I don't know that, but there's a good example where suddenly, or guys might want to go play for Mike McDonald again in Seattle. And if you're a free agent, yeah, you can have that choice. Again, if Seattle comes with an offer or whatever. But yeah, I think the competition for free agent does go up because now you have basically three guys, and Denard Wilson in Tennessee. You've got three guys who worked with these players in Baltimore this year who are now with different teams and absolutely might be interested in, familiarity is part of it. And they're the coordinators and they're going to set their schemes, and they know how these players work in those schemes if they're going to use a scheme like this one. And so absolutely, I think that's going to create more competition for the free agents.
Bo, I feel like as the Ravens move into that portion of the offseason, I established that I think that they're going to franchise tag Justin Madubuike. I guess I should make sure. Are you as convinced that that's the plan, is to tag Madubuike and figure that out and try to keep him around? Or do you still think the Patrick Queen factors into that? Do you think there's some world where they'd like to get one of them signed before they get to the tag? Like, what do you feel that this looks like on the defensive side with the key free agents to start things off?
Yeah, I asked Eric DeCosta about tagging Madubuike, and of course he kind of danced around it and said, I learned not to mention anything. I think that, I expect them to franchise tag Justin Madubuike. I think he's the guy that they have spent basically years trying to find an interior pass rusher. And now they have one in the building, and I just don't think they want to let him go. Whether they tag him and look to extend him, if you tag him now, you have till July to try to extend him. Whether they tag him and have him play on the tag for a year. I don't see them tagging or trying to do an extension. I still am of the belief that Patrick Queen is going to be priced out of here after paying Roquan Smith, and you've got Lamar Jackson, and we've heard Eric DeCosta say several times, the Lamar Jackson contract just changes how we can operate. And so I don't see a scenario in which Patrick Queen can stick around, unfortunately, because they love him. And Eric DeCosta said in so many words, Queen has earned the right to go find out what his value is. Yeah. So I see Queen hitting free agency, and I expect Madubuike to be tagged.
Where are you with Geno Stone? Because it's a different conversation than Queen. Like, I think Queen, a lot of us have accepted there's only so much money that you can pay an inside linebacker. I look at Geno Stone, and my gut tells me that Geno Stone's production this season probably prices him out of Baltimore as well, because while he's a good player, it just feels like he's the type of player that's about to be paid because of his production this year, and I'm not sure that that's an expectation that you could have in Baltimore, that he could. I don't know that you can suddenly think that he is a great ball hawk and a game changer in the turnover department year in and year out versus a guy who had a really good season and took advantage of opportunity.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because you remember I wrote a story about him for a PressBox print issue a couple months ago, and Anthony Levine had talked about how Stone was so adamant he wanted to stay in Baltimore. And he did. He came back last year after essentially hitting free agency very briefly and came back on a one-year deal. Talking to him in the locker room after the season, he made it sound like he's ready to go see what his value is. So I think he will hit free agency. And numbers help these guys, and the interceptions total is probably going to get him paid more than the Ravens see his value as being, as much as they like him. I do think, even if Stone leaves, I think they have to have some other investment, even if it's a moderate investment in a safety, whether it's a veteran guy they can get cheaper than Geno Stone. Because here's what I think. I personally think this team is – Kyle Hamilton is such a different kind of player. It strikes me that this team, I believe, is much better with Kyle Hamilton playing near the line of scrimmage. And I think it's not – I think the team is better if he's up in the slot or playing it physically near the line, which would mean you're definitely going to want another safety back there with Marcus Williams, who we think is going to come back healthy. So I think Stone is probably going to price his way out of here, but I expect some kind of either a veteran stopgap or a day 2 draft pick who might come in and suddenly be back there with him.
Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, with us here on GCR. Bo, obviously some of the story of Friday was rehashing what happened in the AFC Championship game, and that's fine. It oddly turned into the story over the weekend and actually into earlier this week, where it appeared as though the Ravens were prepared to hire Jerry Rossberg in this game management coach type of role. And I got to be honest, I saw pushback from Ravens fans about it, Bo, and I thought to myself, what in the world? Like, this is a good idea for any team, anywhere, any coach, any circumstance, to have one more set of eyes during the course of a game day that's a little bit separated from the emotions of being on field during the course of a game. That I can't imagine someone thinking this is a negative thing, and then bizarrely within 24 hours it goes away. So I guess, what do you make of all of it? Every layer of, was this about Jerry Rossberg? Do you feel like this just means they're going to try to find someone else for this role? Like, what do you make of sort of the bizarre nature of how this week has played out?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to say, I didn't dig into that a whole lot. I'm a huge Jerry Rossberg fan, so I was excited about him coming back. He was here. He was on campus in the facility. Probably he was here during training camp. He was probably on the practice field at least 3 or 4 times during the season, just visiting and just, but when he visits, he's out there for practice because that's what he does. And I would think if he was here, he would have had one eye on special teams, which is what he knows best. So it seemed like it made sense, and I don't know why it went away. I had no issue with him coming back. I thought it would be a good move just because I love Jerry Rossberg. He's a good guy, and it probably would help to have another set of eyes. I don't know why it suddenly went away. The whole thing was kind of strange.
Could you believe that there was like negativity towards it? Like, what did you make of that? It was so weird, Bo. Like, this is I don't know why any team would be opposed to having a little bit of help, whatever, no matter what happened in an AFC Championship game. Like,
and he basically had that role at Denver at first, and then he ultimately took over as the interim coach in the last few games that one year. And to talk to people in Denver, he was highly regarded in Denver. People really liked him, and I don't know, but I'm a big fan of his, and it was a strange little twist coming in right as it did.
Bo, as we continue to look towards the offseason and what's going to be next, I feel like one of the big conversations is the future of Ronnie Stanley here in Baltimore. And it's not easy, right? Because even when you say that there are savings that could be had with Ronnie Stanley, you have to acknowledge, but potentially with a lot of dead cap space still being eaten up, and you could mitigate some of that by going with the post-June 1st, cut, but then that money's not available when free agency opens. It's a complicated conversation. And by the way, you're talking about left tackle, and for the most part, we have to acknowledge that as frustrating as it's been for the Ravens with Ronnie Stanley being hurt, being healthy, when he's been on the field, typically they've been better than when he's not been on the field. So what's your gut tell you about what this looks like moving forward for Ronnie Stanley?
My gut tells me that he's back there next year, and they're hoping he'll be healthy and can be the Ronnie Stanley, if not of the Ronnie Stanley of his first year, at least, as you mentioned, the Ronnie Stanley that he looks like when he's healthy. It just hasn't been there that much lately. I just look at, you're talking a whole lot of dead cap money if there's a cut made, and this is not a team, again, to hear DaCosta with the Lamar Jackson contract. The money situation's tricky, and I just don't see them wanting to embrace taking on a big pile of dead money over this. I think they have to – I believe they will stick it out with Stanley for at least another year and see if he can live up to the deal, at least to some extent of it. I know I'm sure they're disappointed with how it's progressed since his injury. You couldn't have predicted it, and then he gets hurt literally the day after he signed his big, huge deal. But I just look at the pile of dead money. I think it's $17 million or something at first. And I just think that's cost prohibitive for what they want to do. I just don't think you can put that amount of money aside and say, we don't need that. We'll just let it go. I don't see it happening that way.
And I certainly think they at least approach him about whether or not they can, do a haircut type of scenario and try to get the cap figure closer to the dead cap number. But again, if you're Ronnie Stanley, I don't know. You might say to yourself, I'm still a left tackle in the NFL. Like, I'm still a guy that's had a lot of accomplishments. I think that I'd be quite fine if I were to go on the open market. So, no, I'm not doing that. And so I think that's the difficulty with having that conversation. And then what about at running back, Bo? Like, give me a thought about I think that's the fascinating part, because right now you have Justice Hill and you have Keaton Mitchell coming off a significant injury coming back. And that's like it. What do you think this looks like for the Ravens as far as running back is concerned? What might their priorities be this offseason, knowing they probably don't want to spend a ton of money there and go after any of these marquee, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs types?
We've talked about it before, Glenn. I mean, the running back market is just so fascinating, and I don't know. I don't know what a guy like Gus Edwards will even command on the open market. J.K. Dobbins is a tricky one because he's been hurt all the time. And what kind of, he's probably going to have to take a 1-year prove-it deal somewhere. And with everything that's happened here, I don't know if they would ask him to come back for a year. He may say, I'm going to go try somewhere else. It's just not worked out here like I had hoped. So I don't know. I mean, I think Gus Edwards is a possibility to come back. I think Gus Edwards probably would like the opportunity to check the open market, but I think all these running backs, for the most part, are disappointed by what they find out there. It's just a fact of it. The Ravens will end up having 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 running backs in camp. They will. I don't know where they'll come from. I don't know what they'll pay for them. The problem with running backs is guys like Keaton Mitchell are out there, and they come in as an undrafted rookie, and they shine, and then you say, well, wait a minute, why are we paying for the running back position? And I think Gus Edwards is a guy that is in some ways so perfect for this offense,
right,
for what they want to do.
When they give him the
so
ball,
I think
Bo.
He's a guy. What's that?
When they give him the ball.
Yeah, when they choose to run the ball. When they choose to run the ball, right. In those times when they run the ball. So he's a guy I think they might look for and say, hey, what can we do here? But and that might be a thing where he does choose to come back. But I think all these running backs are in a tough spot because the market is just not being friendly to them.
All right, last one for you, the Odell Beckham question. Like, I thought, I get it. If you measured his production to his salary, it would be easy to say the Ravens didn't get what but I thought they got exactly what they were supposed to get out of Odell Beckham this season, and it proved that it was worth making that move. But I get it. Again, with Lamar Jackson's cap number going up, it becomes more difficult. What's your gut tell you? Although, I mean, maybe Odell, he certainly said all the right things. Maybe he really liked being here. What's your gut tell you about Odell Beckham's future in Baltimore?
My gut tells me he will not be back. But, again, you're right. I mean, he did say he loved being here, loved playing with Jackson. And to your point, I think they did get what they wanted to out of him. I mean, for $15 million, you think you'd like to get more than 500 yards or whatever. But, again, I think part of that cost went into recruiting Lamar Jackson, which had not happened yet. I mean, I think that was part of the cost of doing business, was you bring Odell Beckham in, and that maybe moves the needle on Lamar Jackson's contract getting sorted out. So I think there was something to that. But I think if I had to bet, I think Odell Beckham will not be back. I think he has said he still thinks he can play. He still has a lot left. I don't think the Ravens are going to be giving him that kind of money again, and maybe someone will. But if I had to bet, I would say he will not be back.
All right. He is Bo Smolka. It's at @BSmolka on Twitter. That's how you follow him. Of course, PressBoxOnline.com is where you see all of his stuff. And there will be plenty more, personnel, coaching additions, plenty of stuff to pontificate about. But we will be in touch as news warrants. Always appreciate taking the time for us. Thanks so much for hopping on this morning.
All right, Glenn, take care.
It's Bo Smolka, PressBox Ravens beat writer, with us here on GCR. And this guy is here. You know him. He's Drew. Sometimes he comes in here. He's ranting and raving like a lunatic.
Oh, wow.
He's got prepared shtick. I don't know what he... Oh, is this because of your Terps? Is that what this is?
Got to fire the coach.
Oh, we're already doing that?
I mean, you got to let him go.
Let him go?
I sound like Pete from downtown.
Yeah, you do.
You're not winning anything with this guy.
Bring back
Turgeon.
Bring back Turgeon?
Jeez.
Is that what you're gonna do? How you handling this?
Not well.
No.
We lost to Rutgers.
Did you bet on the game last night?
No.
Okay. All right.
I did.
I learned my lesson a couple weeks
I don't know
ago.
what I was thinking.
Hofstra, Delaware finished me off.
Oh, yeah?
Financially and emotionally.
Okay. You're tapped out now? You're no
Well,
longer going to go down that
I'm
road?
not betting anymore. Any of you people bet on sports, you're insane. After I watched that fiasco at the end of the Hofstra, Delaware game.
I got a tip for you about that.
Where that clown couldn't make a foul shot. Yeah, it's just very sad. By the way, I got a new...
He's really dejected.
I got a new entry for this is what's wrong with our country.
Oh, don't save it. I've got... I prepared stuff.
I have a new entry. It just hit me.
There was something that we forgot last week.
Because 45-minute long segment today.
We got all caught up about...
Well, let's just get started with it now.
No, would you stop?
What's wrong with this country is we can't beat Rutgers in basketball.
Something to be said for that. You gonna be all right, man? I'm worried.
We don't have any basketball players. I mean, I know people. I wrote this morning at Drew's Morning Dish. This is it happened last night. It actually happened on two fronts. For the first time last night, I saw people. By the way, not nut jobs. Mm-hmm. Respected people say these might not be the right coaches for Maryland and the Caps.
One of the well, I don't. God bless you about the Caps.
Well, I'm just saying this is a guy that's 45 games into his tenure, and people are saying Carberry might not be the right guy.
Okay. I couldn't add.
And people are saying that about Willard.
So it's funny because actually one of the biggest Maryland homers there is.
He wrote it. He said it.
Correct.
And he is a homer.
I
mean, like out the door crazy homer.
Are you talking about
yes.
This guy?
Yes.
Yep, that guy.
I mean, Maryland could lose 71-10 in football, and he'd say, "I tell you though, the drive where we scored the 10,
right? Yeah, really looked
or
impressive,
the 7. If we did
guy,
that more often,
that guy was getting.
He makes you look like amateur night from the old days.
Again, you're the homer now. Like you keep trying to do reverse history.
I know.
You're the homer.
But he said it last night.
I saw it. I couldn't believe it.
And there was someone else did.
He wanted to fight with anyone who ever said anything negative about Mark Turgeon. If you said something negative about Mark Turgeon, that guy was ready to fight.
And there were other people last night said the same thing.
Oh, 100%. Well, I said what I said this morning is the moment last night, because everything about this season, we really need to take a break. I tell you what, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back in. We'll talk about this.
Lost to Rutgers.
But it wasn't the result. There was something that happened during the course of the game. There was a moment during the game that made me realize just how bad it is.
Okay.
Tell you about it when we come back in.
Well, wait a minute.
Nope. Stop it.
All right.
Drew Forrester is here. Griffin, what's going on at the Green Turtle today?
Green Turtle, tomorrow they are offering you free $10 bets at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. So get out there. You can bet on whatever you like. Towson plays tomorrow. They got a big one against Delaware. If that'll wet your whistle, maybe experience the ultimate destination for game day excitement, great food, and live in-person betting. So check out the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. Get your free bet and enjoy some food and maybe some college basketball tomorrow night.
It's going to wet your whistle?
Yeah.
What's
wrong with that?
That's all right. We'll talk about it another time. We'll talk. Drew's here. It's what you think it was going to be. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use with the best. And use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit Superbook.com PressBoxOnline.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and it's our very special annual Best Of issue. On the cover, we celebrate Orioles manager Brandon Hyde as our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, and the Orioles as our Team of the Year, with Stan the Fan Charles and Glenn Clark sitting down with Hyde to discuss his role in creating the culture that defined the Orioles' magic season. Also inside, we recognize the top people, performances, and moments of 2023. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Ravens, Terps, and O's at PressBoxOnline.com.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. That was the voice of Drew Forrester, who's here with us this morning.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Can you play that again?
No, nope, we sure can't.
No, can you?
Hey, do you think you know high school basketball? Go to countysportszone.com where you can pick the winners and earn points to see where you stand on the leaderboard. Only at countysportszone.com, presented by your local Toyota dealers. So I said this earlier in the show, Drew. The moment last night when they put this run together late after they fell behind by 9.
Yeah, they were within a point.
Right? Deshaun Harris-Smith is wide open for a 3.
I don't even want to. Okay.
Wide open. And he is so rattled and incapable of the moment that he refuses to take the shot, and then Jamie Kaiser throws the ball away. And it's the realization that
both of them stink.
Correct. And that these were the two.
I don't understand how. I hate to do this. Like, I just had 2 Calvert Hall players of mine have a college ceremony today. Mm-hmm. They're wonderful kids. They're both going to – one's going to Ryan Henneman going to Salisbury, Sam Teljahan going to McDaniel. They're both going to be outstanding college golfers.
They weren't good enough to get to Stevenson as well.
Right. But outstanding college players. They're both going to be very good in college. So I get nervous when we talk about these college kids, but then you remind yourself they're all getting $40,000 to play basketball or whatever, and then you say, yeah, you're not really a kid anymore. Mm-hmm. Both of those kids are terrible.
And the problem is...
Yeah, the problem is the coach brought them there.
You picked them.
Right.
You can't get out of this. If you want to say, well, it turns out they were the wrong kids, well, you picked them.
It's kind of funny. There's no other sport. I got to think this through, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. There's no other sport where the coach picks the players with the degree of conviction that college coaches do. College coaches pick the players.
It's an interesting.
John
right.
doesn't pick all the players.
Right.
John doesn't. I'm not saying this. So I'm not saying I know this. Eric might have come to John and said, "We're signing Odell Beckham. Speak now, forever hold your peace. You have something to say about it? Mm-hmm. We're going to sign him. We made a deal. We've got the money right. If you're adamant doing handstands that you don't want him, tell me. But we're getting him. No, there's no athletic director anywhere who says to a college coach, "You're signing that kid."
Yep.
It's weird.
There might every now and then be like, "Hey, this guy's dead. Gives us a lot of money. Can you put him on the bench?" Like something like
enough,
that might come, but not like this.
Right.
Correct.
But these college coaches go hand-pick these kids, and it certainly is a much tougher I'll probably tell you this. I'm going to tell you a story off the air. I don't want to tell it on the air. Well, I guess I could, maybe. I don't want to incriminate anyone. It's totally legal. I don't want to incriminate anyone.
I'm really confused.
No,
about where this is
I
about
know.
to
I'm
go.
very nervous about it.
Yeah.
There was a college coach that I recently directly overheard, say we start all of the guys on the team at 80,000.
Okay.
And he said it with me sitting right there with no real idea who I was, meaning I could have been anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it like you and I are sitting here talking right now. We start all of the guys that make the team at 80,000.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
But so I bring that up to say the landscape of this whole college thing has changed unbelievably. And I'm not defending Willard when I say this, but in some ways I am. It's so out of control.
But that's no different anywhere else.
No.
Like
I'm
that-
just saying it's
yeah.
so out of control that it's now almost, I don't want to say luck, but everything has got to be put in place exactly right for you. And there's so much fragility in this whole effort to get kids.
It's all well and good. And I'm not telling you you're wrong.
They're
but
all a step away from leaving.
Someone's winning. Like this is not
primarily it's the same schools that always win. For the most part.
Primarily.
It is.
But that's no different than
and it is because they were always a step ahead of the game.
Maybe
they were always a step ahead.
That might be part of the case. I'm not going to disagree with that, right? But it's Maryland won one of those too. Like it's not like Maryland has always been on the outside looking in. There was a time.
No, but the times have really changed in the last 3 years.
Right.
Really changed.
I mean,
Maryland has someone now, and you and I both know who this is. Maryland has someone now employed to get kids money.
Yes. By the way, let's make this abundantly clear. We're not even going to have to dance around it. Within 5 years, and especially with the Dartmouth ruling, if it stays, they're just going to be employed. If the
Correct.
Dartmouth ruling stays, we're not going to have to
Right.
play around with this
It's
any
just
longer.
right. You'll be
they're not gonna have to
be a professional college player.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to go. And by the way, they might not all. I don't.
Let's
know
get back to beating up Kevin Willard.
Everything you said is true, but yet some coaches have figured out ways to make it work and still win basketball games. And you decided that these were the two guys. You decided these were the ones.
The one is.
And it's a step
The
beyond
one couldn't
just
play at Towson.
It's not just that these are the guys you picked. It's that now the thing that we're feeling, if you care about Maryland basketball,
You don't have anywhere else to go.
Well, are you capable of developing anyone?
Well, you don't have anywhere else to go. Who else you getting?
It's one. Well, there's some of that, but I would say it's one thing if one guy doesn't work. That you have two guys, neither of whom have taken even the smallest step forward.
Right.
Can you ever? Are you?
Yeah, you say what you will about Reese, and he still has a lot of flaws, and by no means do I think he's a lock to ever play in the NBA. I think he's going to have a chance to play in the NBA. But say a chance. But say what you will about him, he has improved. He just has so many flaws in his game, and I'm wondering and asking, like, who's responsible for making him better? Who is it? Who there is making him better? Who is he's a foul waiting to happen on every single possession. He could get a foul. Like somewhere there's something wrong. And I know everybody in town is hell bent on talking about coaching in the championship game. Didn't run the ball, didn't do this, didn't do that. I get it. There is no sport, in my opinion, no sport that impacts players from a coaching standpoint the way basketball does. Basketball coaches directly impact the improvement of the player and the flow and the fluidity of the game better or more than any other coach, in my opinion. I think baseball managers also have that in-game influence. And football clearly does, but football is much more about the work you do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah,
and
sure,
Friday.
sure.
Way more. when the game
Well,
happens on Sunday, it's a game of two halves.
And the natural skill of your quarterback. Like I do.
We're not even talking about that.
But
I
I
mean, the
think
quarterback decides the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think in football,
no doubt. But you spend, and you know this because I think you did. If not, it was only because you weren't there. I remember like it was yesterday, sitting in Rex Ryan's office, and Rex Ryan saying with a bunch of F words in there, and frankly, some things that would have gotten him in trouble, saying there is no way Michael Vick's beating us this Sunday, and I'm going to show you why. And Rex Ryan put it up on the screen right in front of us in Owings Mills and said, here's what we're doing with Michael Vick. Watch what Bart Scott does. Watch this. Watch Adelius Thomas. Watch this linebacker. Here's what we're doing Sunday. But Rex Ryan, the game had already been won because he knew how to defend that kid. But that's what they spent their whole week on was Michael Vick, right? Like to your point, if the other team's quarterback, and we have one now, if the other team's quarterback is no one cares about, nobody game plans for Desmond Ridder.
correct.
Who cares? Or Sam Darnold. But they
do, but you don't have to is the point. Like they still do.
they go through the
Like,
mechanics of
yes,
it because they have to be
correct.
respectful. Because
Correct.
if they're not respectful, their defense goes, well, if you're not worried about that kid,
Yeah,
why
they're
am I
not-
worried
right,
about
exactly
it?
right.
So they do. And this is why college basketball coaches, after a game where they won 91-54, the first thing the college basketball coach
Yeah, that's a
says
good team
is,
over there.
tell you
Yeah.
what,
It's a good
we
team.
just beat a hell of a team.
Yeah, they're gonna
We're-
win some games this year. They're gonna be a problem in their league.
We're pretty impressed with them.
Yep.
Clark does a hell of a job coaching those
100%.
kids.
That guy can coach.
And then they get in their car and they're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
Merrimack's
they
that bad?
stink. They stink.
Right.
Right.
So so much of this coaching thing, and to get back to Willard, like, are you, and this is really it, are you making, you and I used to talk about this all the time with Mike Jones. Did Gary make that kid better? Did he make him better? Like Mike Jones came here as a consensus McDonald's All-American. Did Gary make him better? Or did Mike Jones leave College Park and go, I should have gone to play for Coach K?
But there can always be an argument for one, right? Like you could say that Gary Williams said, I did everything in my power. Mike Jones refused to play defense. I can't. What am I supposed to do at that point?
But
one
did he
kid,
make him better? I think he did. I think he
uh,
did. Now, again, did he make him into the All-American college player?
Right, obviously not.
No.
But I don't know. There are 80
And there's
examples.
also this other thing too, and I'm not saying you don't understand. I see it because I'm in the mix of high school sports. The high school coach, forget the college coach. The high school coach has to fight and scratch and bite for every piece of respect they can get. In basketball, particularly.
Sure.
Because they're being told at age 13, Clark doesn't know what he's talking about. I came to that game.
Yep.
I saw you guys lose 57-52 to Pilati.
Yeah, but he needs to be doing
your
this.
coach,
Right.
dude. That Clark kid, he had no idea what he's doing.
Yep.
Those kids are being told that when they go on Saturdays to their gym.
Exactly. Or when they play AAU, whatever they're doing.
It's really, really hard.
But let me come back. Let's try to focus this for a second. Because the Willard problem is, to your point, Gary Williams, even if we say Mike Jones didn't develop, even if we did that.
He was still a productive player.
Fair, but there were also 80 other players that you would point to as examples of guys who did develop. Like, the one that didn't was outweighed by the 100 that did.
Fair enough. Right. Like,
it'd be one thing.
What was the one white kid that the left-handed boy that came up that was from Maine?
Nick Cantor-Medley.
Yeah,
right. Like, there were so many examples of players who did develop that you could live with it when there was one that didn't.
Sure.
The problem for Kevin Willard is, name anyone who's gotten better. Name anyone. Name somebody who's been better.
I didn't. I didn't think Jameer Young would be this good, but even he has flaws.
He has flaws, but I would say
I didn't think he was
the
going to be
people that
this
watched him
good.
at Charlotte would tell you this was a 1,000-point scorer. He just happened to be doing it at a lower level.
Okay.
Like, that's all.
Okay.
This was not a scrub
But
that
you
showed
can't-
up here. This was not this was a really good player. And the disappointing part for Maryland may be that they can't get more. But the answer might be for Kevin Willard, he's just got to get everybody out of the portal. That's the way that it goes. But that's what Mark Turgeon tried doing late in his career, and he got run off, right? Like, that's not an acceptable way of recruiting. You have to go get freshmen. You have to go get high school players and have them. Who's the guy that, without having already been in college, I don't think that Julian Reese is any better. We know Dante Scott's
I think there's
going
to be a significant push in the next 5 or 10 years, and I don't know the legalities of this, so I could be way off. I think there's going to be a significant push from the coaches to say the kids have got to stay here for at least 2 years.
Well, if this
and they have
we're
to.
all over the place.
I know.
I can't continue a conversation.
But they have to.
Well, there's going to be if this Dartmouth thing stays, and college athletes are ruled employees and they unionize, then the next thing is going to be contracts. And to your point, the coaches are going to say, we like that, with the flip side being they can't just run a guy off anymore, which you don't see much in basketball, but you see a lot more in football.
Right.
In football, you constantly see guys that are hitting the transfer portal, and everybody says, yeah, that's no big deal. That guy can go, and that's because the coach felt that way.
Right.
The coach said, you can go. So it'll be a bigger problem for football to have to give out contracts, because then you won't just be able to tell a guy it's time to go. You're still going to have to honor his contract, despite the fact that if he wants, it's going to be a more awkward conversation at that point. But the contract thing will come at some point if the Dartmouth thing holds,
right,
and if they go that way. But it's a different conversation than the Kevin Willard problem.
Are we firing him or not?
No, you can't fire him. He's got a 7-year contract.
I know, that's the problem.
You can't fire him. But as I said last night, the grace is gone.
Demote him. Hey, Kev.
Yeah, right.
We got news for you.
Yeah, we're gonna stick.
That's
the
title
around.
That's the title of associate to the assistant head coach.
Like the grace is gone, and that's the bigger problem for. Like, now you need a miracle. Now you need
a miracle for what?
For this to turn around.
Turn around this year, next year,
no,
2
this
years?
Year's done. Stop. There's nothing to happen this year.
Right.
I mean, moving forward.
Right.
There's no juice.
Right.
There's no money coming in for a minute. The alumni, the fan base was willing to say, there's a new coach. Let's try to get behind him.
Right.
Let's see what he can do. And then he goes and reaches the NCAA tournament in year 1, and there's excitement, and there's a feeling that something is happening, and we can get behind it. Now, when he goes this year and says, well, we need to try to get this kid, and we're going to need $300,000 more, he's going to turn around and find a bunch of people that say, dude, you want us to give you? What did we get for our money on
lost to Rutgers.
On the last guy?
You lost to Rutgers, right.
Now it's going to take a miracle.
Right.
Now it's going for Kevin Willard to get things turned around moving forward. It's going to require, like, at this point, I think there's no chance this kid Derek Queen is going to come to Maryland. I don't know why the hell he would. If he just loved being at home so much, he probably would have committed by now. The fact that he hasn't suggests he doesn't love being at home that much. And what is there to love about being a basketball player at Maryland at the moment? So it's going to take 3 guys in the portal that all hit. Like, it's going to take something absurd for this to get turned around moving forward at Maryland. It's bleak. That's the story was these freshmen. If these freshmen came in and were players and contributed, then this team was going to have a chance not to do something. They weren't going to make a Final Four run.
Yeah, but they could make the tournament and win a couple games.
They could make the tournament. They could, surprise somebody, be in the Sweet 16, and again, continue to show progress that could get interest. But this, like, the performance of these freshmen is, dude, there's nothing happening here.
The one, I can't even keep saying this over and over, the one is really bad.
It's bad. It's very
He
bad.
stepped up in class, and he threw his shoe after the first furlong.
Yeah, it's that bad.
They eased him halfway through the race.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, let's not talk about Maryland basketball anymore.
Well, it's just disappointing.
Let's not do that. It's so funny. Maryland was good for years. Drew had no interest, none, zero. Would make fun of everybody who wanted to talk about
watch
Maryland.
every game.
Now he's
obsessed. I'm wearing the turtle
he's
head.
Obsessed, and they stink.
Now I'm wearing the turtle head. Now I'm high-fiving Scott Van Pelt. I go down to the sidelines.
Like, it makes
Gary!
no sense.
Gary!
What are you
doing?
Hey,
it's Drew!
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, you'll see when you get old.
Will I?
You get very melancholy.
Is that
all those years I ignored Maryland? Now I feel bad.
You feel bad about it? They really deserved our. I don't know if you heard. They're the state school.
Yeah. Oh,
you heard.
I heard. I don't know
how.
Our
number
DC,
one of today's show was brought to you by Superbook. Go to Superbook.com, download the Superbook app, use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up. You'll receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match, win or lose. I told you yesterday, cool thing they've got going on at Superbook is you do like your squares contest with your friends. Well, you can pick your own squares through Superbook. You don't have to get a random drawing, and then you find out you got like 9 and 1. Like, I don't
21-19, here we come.
Yeah, sure.
Just
I don't
pick your
like your
score?
chances. But for any quarter, you can go right now and say I
4
want
and 7.
exactly right. You can go bet if you wanted to say
And they put odds in there?
100. If you want the now
4
you
and
got
7.
you got to pick it by the team. So if you wanted like 49ers 4, Chiefs 7 for
okay.
any quarter. So if you think the 49ers are going to be up 14-7,
I think they're going to win.
At the end of any quarter, you can go bet 49ers 4, Chiefs 7 and get 8-1 odds on that right now at Superbook. So
Well, I don't gamble anymore.
About 7-7.
right,
But
we learned that
But
you
I'm thinking
quit.
about doing this.
You want 7-7,
Yeah.
Griffin. That one probably is going to be
2-1.
4-1. That's pretty good odds for 7-7.
0-7.
0-7 which way?
It doesn't matter. Just pick one.
All right. 0
Are there different odds for?
49ers 0, Chiefs 7 is plus 325. So,
Okay.
you know,
I think San Francisco's winning, by the way. I just do. I just feel like they're winning.
I
I haven't-
disagree.
I haven't really thought about this.
27-23.
I'm so tapped out on.
I know. 27-23.
I just don't care. Obviously, I'm going to watch, but like I just don't care.
Who's the halftime act?
Usher.
Oh, never mind. She's the worst.
So,
Couldn't we get somebody more modern?
like who?
Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Drew's obsessed with
Sure.
Taylor Swift.
I mean, I don't care. With Tracy Chapman.
Right. That is. She's the biggest star on the planet right now. And I don't know. I really don't know how. Like, there's a part of me that
you
says
don't know. No one
no,
knows.
but I don't know how I feel about it. Like, there's a part of me that says I'm done betting against the Chiefs for this year. Like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, that would be wise.
I've done it for the last.
It's like betting against Tom Brady.
What am I doing? I literally did it in every playoff game. Now, if I had known the weather in the first one, remember I was on a boat, so if I had
Right.
known the weather for the first one, I wouldn't have bet the Chiefs.
Of course.
I said that. I
You
said it
wouldn't have
before
bet the
game.
Dolphins, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I would have bet the Chiefs. I said that before the game started. I messaged whoever it was and said, if I hadn't been on a boat where I didn't know what the weather was going to be, if somebody had showed me a weather report, there's zero chance I would have bet on the Dolphins. But all 3 games, I bet against the Chiefs. All 3 games. I don't think I'm doing it again. I don't think. If I'm going down, I'm not going down that way.
Speaking of Weather Report, was Chick Corea in Weather Report?
Was Chick Corea in Weather Report? Did you ever see Chick Corea do Times Like These with the Foo Fighters?
No, but he's
It's one of the greatest
I-
things.
I gotta-
It's one of the greatest things.
One
I've
of my
ever seen in life.
favorite albums of all time is an album by Chick Corea and Flora Purim. I'd have to look up the title of it, but anyway, it was Chick Corea and Weather Report.
I don't think so, but all right. Let's get back to I don't know
I'm
what we're
just
doing
saying,
here.
Chick Corea.
Superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. Use the code.
He's still alive.
Clark23. No, he passed.
He did?
Yeah, and
Play that
as did
Finally.
Carl Weathers. As did Carl Weathers. So of course was how the game
Return
started.
to Forever was the name of the.
The game started years
They
ago.
were a band, so that's what I meant. I got
thought-
confused. Just hold on, because this is important.
No, it's
I
it's
was
not.
thinking Weather Report, but it was Return to Forever was the name of the band
Thank you.
that Chick Corea was in.
Okay. Anything else? What else do you have prepared for today? What else do you
I'll
have?
come to your house and chew gum.
Drew
Light as a
Forrester.
Feather was the best song on that album.
Good to know.
Did
Good
it
to
hit the That's What's Wrong with This Country?
Not.
We're getting close.
Well, you and I have not talked about Corbin Burnes.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you haven't already said that you have any more interest in saying, or do you want to go ahead and hit the?
He did die. You're right, in Tampa. Not Corbin Burnes, Chick Corea. What was his first name? Charles?
God. Pull up Chick Corea doing times like these with the Foo Fighters. It was amazing. It was amazing.
See, now you're doing it now.
My favorite thing.
What's his first name? Charles?
Anything you want to say about Corbin Burnes that you haven't already said?
Armando.
Armando Anthony Chick Corea.
All right. You know what? Hit the
All
open.
right. So anyway, Corbin Burnes. I mean, you have to think this almost feels. It almost feels too easy. Honestly.
Oh, you're starting to feel like the thing with the Ravens?
Yes.
Right?
This is a 127-win team.
Right.
Like, what 30 games are we?
So something's gonna have
what
to
35
go wrong.
games
Yeah,
are we
get it.
losing?
I get
Like, we're gonna beat everyone's brains in.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced of that.
Oh, I am.
I have.
You don't think so?
I have still two concerns that I don't think other people.
What if their bus gets to the game on
No,
time? Like, what are you talking
I
about?
still have real bullpen concerns.
Oh, please! They won't
Real
need the
bullpen.
bullpen.
I don't think that all these guys
Lord.
are going to throw 7 innings every start. I think Burnes will.
Listen to you being a
I don't know about
Debbie
the other
Downer.
guys.
They're going to beat the hell out of everybody. It feels so weird. It does feel so weird. I mean, you can close your eyes now and say, welcome to T. Rowe Price Stadium for Game 1 of the World Series.
We don't know if it's going to be T. Rowe Price Stadium because we don't know how that deal is going to shake out.
You got to give Angelo's credit. I got a real S-burger for you guys.
Yeah.
I gave T. Rowe Price the naming rights for $800,000. Yeah, it just seems too easy. It seems like something's got to go wrong, right? Doesn't it? It's all aligned perfectly.
See, I don't think it's as aligned as perfectly as you do. I just don't. I think that I think it was a no-brainer to trade for Corbin Burnes.
I do too. Here's the only thing I would say about it. I will balance it out a little bit. He's definitely not re-signing here, right?
Oh, no.
I shouldn't say
he basically said that.
I mean,
out
I wouldn't say he's not going to re-sign. He's going to become a free agent, and I think there's even some likelihood, or at least some potential, he's around until next July, and then the Orioles might have to part company with him. Not this July, the following July.
Wait, say that again.
I think he's going to. At some point, you've got to consider him. You got to consider moving him.
Burnes?
If things don't go right.
Well, you'd have to do that this July.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
You
okay.
don't,
I'm like, what are we?
No, you
Yeah.
would have to think about it. I don't think that's going to happen. But if he could be literally a 4-month guy. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
you gave up two people
if
for
it's a
him.
disaster, sure.
You gave up 2 people for him.
If this team gets off to some sort of disastrous start that no one sees
But I
coming,
don't see
absolutely.
because we're going to win 130
It's
games.
so confusing what you're trying to say.
No, I'm just saying we gave up two players
Right.
who woulda, shoulda, coulda had a legitimate run here for a guy we're definitely only going to keep for 1 year, if that.
Well, okay, Joey.
And that is the gamble.
Joey
and
Ortiz
was
was
locked.
almost certainly
I
never going to have a run
totally
here
get it.
just because of the
I
circumstances.
get it.
But like again, the Burnes trade was a no-brainer. The following points, no, I don't think there's any chance in hell that Burnes is signing here, and he kind of made that abundantly clear in the one interview that he did.
Well, he would sign here if we gave him $350 million
if
for
they wanted,
10 years.
If they wanted to pay something
like Garrett Cole.
extraordinary,
Right.
and we'll find out, right? And like that'll be the next test for David Rubenstein, but Rubenstein. Stein. We did figure out it was Stein, right?
Well, I did. You didn't.
No, I did, and then I forgot, and then it's a whole thing.
Well, yeah, so you didn't.
Yeah. Well, I did first.
Well,
I
but-
had it right for days, and then you showed up.
I love it.
You have an impact.
It's Bruce Springsteen, by
Is
the
it
way.
Steen? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
Positive.
Um,
It's Gary Stein.
apparently, Dustin Hoffman once called him Bruce Springstreet.
That's pretty funny.
There's a clip of Robin Williams introducing Bruce Springsteen at the Grammys one year, and I love Robin Williams and I like Bruce Springsteen.
He's
so
dead.
yeah, thank you. And so I watched the clip, and he says that apparently Dustin Hoffman would refer to him as Bruce Springstreet. Would just get it confused.
I love it.
And would just call him Springstreet.
Well, I'm all for it. I think as long as DL Hall doesn't go there and go 20-7.
No, he might. By the way, we've seen this before,
Right.
where a pitcher might develop somewhere else. But it's still, it was the move to make.
Yeah, you
and
had to do it.
I'm not going to go back 6 years from now and say it was the wrong move because of what happened with those guys. We get frustrated about Jake Arrieta, but every one of us, the day that the Orioles made that trade,
who cares?
said you had to do this.
Right.
It wasn't working with Jake Arrieta. You needed to try to get a piece that could help you at that moment. You were out of options with Arrieta. There was nothing else that you could do at that point.
No doubt.
So I don't do the bit where you go back afterwards and say it was a bad trade to make. It didn't
Who
work.
did we get?
Scott Feldman was that deal, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did we also
and Clevenger.
Didn't we trade Strop with him?
Strope, yeah. Strope also went to Chicago in that deal, 100%. But I'm not going to do that. So what I would say, though, is it's exciting, and I'm all in on Corbin Burnes,
I got my tickets.
but I'm not yet ready to tell you that I think that this is a World Series winning roster.
Well, I am.
I need to see that.
You can put that Lamar meter up to 100.
Right, we're going to do that now? The Burnes meter or something?
Burnes
The
meter.
Burnes meter.
100.
I am.
You're such a Debbie Downer.
I'm excited about it, but even being excited about it, I can still be practical about the roster at hand. The thing that's two things to me have to happen.
You've become such a contrarian.
You are so confident in Craig Kimbrell being. By the way, if this team had Felix, Bautista,
I'm not actually.
I would feel differently.
I am not all that enthused about Craig Kimbrell. I will say.
So
that.
the
Tyler Wells will be the closer.
Maybe by some point. I think everybody's made this confident. Tyler Wells is definitely in the back end of the bullpen prediction.
If everyone's healthy.
That the team hasn't made yet. That the team still has to turn around and say, we definitely believe Dean Kramer is a better option to be our fifth starter than Tyler Wells is. And the numbers from last year would suggest he's not. But I get it. He was the one that held up through the course of the season. And in moments, Dean Kramer has proven to be a good option.
I'm not a Kramer guy with the man bun.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's your Kramer problem, is his hair.
Well, do some research.
Oh? I would love to know more.
Do some research. I'm not saying a word because I'll get accused of being do some research about athletes with man buns.
Okay. I'll get on that if you don't mind.
What
Get
do you
on
mean?
that. This is like
stats
Stan's theory that
do some research.
moms you can't succeed as a quarterback if your mom's attractive.
Like stats of long-haired pitchers.
I love that.
We did that. We dove into it.
I do love that.
We dove into
and
it.
I think there's something to that.
It wasn't nothing, is what I would say. It wasn't nothing. Like
I think there was a
little bit there.
Come on in, Billy. Let me chat with you about coming here to the University of Alabama. By the way,
see your mother real quick.
See a picture of your mom.
All right.
We're gonna put her in the meter real quick, and if it spits it out, she's an 8.4 or higher. We can't take you.
So, good luck at Notre Dame. That's just the way that it's gonna go. And we put it to the test.
We're good.
We took a
We're good.
look.
She's a 6.4.
There was a little bit there.
There
was
it.
a little bit there.
Check the man bun thing.
All right, we're gonna.
Other than Ibrahimovic,
that'll be Griffin's next assignment.
what, like,
that worked
just
out
pull
pretty
up-
well for him, didn't it?
Just pull up long-haired, like, so
I don't
senior
know,
guard.
just-
and-
Guys
put up
that
man
wear
buns.
man buns specifically.
and you're gonna find a bunch of failures.
We're gonna get you on. We didn't have a great day guest booking wise, so that can be your assignment. For
Yeah,
the
right.
day, Is
Just look it up.
is getting to the bottom
You
of
got
the
a man bun,
situation.
you're destined to fail.
I can't even continue.
I'm just
this
telling you.
conversation. I'm concerned.
Sports is
I'm
weird,
concerned
man.
about the back end of the bullpen.
All right, well, I'm not.
And I am concerned that they still don't have enough home runs in their lineup.
No,
I'm still concerned.
they don't need a home runs. They're going to win 9-2 every game.
I hope you're right. I hope that's the case, but
I do think they're going to get one more bat. Whether or not that's J.D. Martinez or Jorge Soler, they're going to get another bat. Don't you think?
Those are both right-handers. Like, that's the other difficult part, right? Like, you did what you did in order to try to help your pitching, and that's all well and good, but it makes it more difficult. If J.D. Martinez was a 33 home run hitter somewhere else, then 1 year older and
25.
with that, right? Like,
but have you ever seen what he did to us in Camden Yards?
I understand.
Hey, J.D., you remember this place?
I
You hit a home run here about every game.
Fortunately, that was a different Camden
Who
Yards.
was it from the Red Sox that also used to was
Manny sure as hell did.
No, freaking Betts.
Oh, yeah, Mookie Betts.
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
He murdered them, didn't he? God.
Now, we weren't very good.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't all that
but
hard.
It was,
I get
but
it.
man, oh, man.
I get it.
It was crazy.
It wasn't all that difficult.
It was crazy.
Murder the Orioles at that point. All right, we'll do it. Go ahead. Hit the open.
All right.
I love this.
We'll see. I haven't heard it yet.
So far, it's good. It's pretty good.
Is that it?
There was supposed to be Drew in there saying.
That didn't go well,
Yeah,
Griffin.
it didn't go well. That stinks. I was really
Hell of
proud
a day for our guy.
I worked on that really hard.
Did you?
Not really.
What do we have to show for it?
That's really disappointing.
I mean, it's a cool guitar riff.
that,
Don't
Joe
get me wrong.
Perry?
Yeah, I'm in on the
Pretty good.
guitar
It was
riff.
just some free.
Yeah, I'm not mad about the guitar riff. It works, but we need an open, not just a guitar.
I
riff.
do understand. I understand the mistake.
He's a rookie. He's still learning.
He's a couple years in now.
Yeah, but we got a stock team.
You know what? You might have to talk to the coach about the development.
We got a
You
stock.
might have to have a conversation about the head coach about development.
All right.
All right, I have three things that I
Okay.
prepared for That's What's Wrong with Our Country. That's What's Wrong with This Country is brought to you this week
We already have a
by
sponsor.
Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, which is not What's Wrong with This Country. Griffin, what's happening at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland?
What's wrong with this country is Hofstra and Delaware.
The place to be this weekend for the big game, Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. It features an on-site FanDuel location, and it is your ultimate spot to watch the big game on their massive 100-foot media wall. So order up your favorite game day bites and take a sip from the signature crushes and extensive beer selection, all just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Watch, wager, and win at Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let me tell you something real quick. Totally, no, I'm not getting. I don't get any money. I don't get any money for this. That food there is really, really
Absolutely.
good.
Outstanding. All right, first thing that I have for you that's wrong with this country, and I know is a fact that you agree, and we just forgot to bring it up last week because we had other things going on. The first thing that's wrong with this country, these effing snowflakes.
The horns
in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
These precious butterflies.
Oh my God.
You want to secede? You want to start a civil war?
Right.
By all means.
Oh my gosh.
You can't handle it. You melt down over a hand gesture. Go ahead. Organize your militia. Holy F.
It's unbelievable. How about what they did to the kids at BYU?
It's a joke.
God,
I got to imagine
it's unreal
that the SEC, because apparently the Big 12 was so desperate to keep Texas around that they were willing to put up with this nonsense. They were like, all right, you precious little boys, you precious butterflies, we'll make sure. That guy, Rodney Terry, I thought he was a good coach. I thought he deserved the job.
Who were they playing when they had that first fracas?
When he was yelling at everybody?
UCF.
UCF, right. And this is wrong of you kids.
Guy's a joke.
These players taunt. I said this about the NFL. These basketball players are the same way. They taunt each other the entire game. The entire game. From the first whistle till the game ends. All they do is taunt one another. And you're mad about that?
Correct.
You're mad because you lost. Let's just call it like
That's
it is.
it.
And by the way, you probably should be. That you get paid to win, you lost, I get it. But you're mad because they did horns down?
And you're almost trying to distract from it. Like, you're trying to distract. Like, I want to talk about something else. I don't want to talk about the fact that my team got their ass kicked, so I'm going to yell at some kids instead.
Right.
And then I'm going to go into a press conference and be like, you know what the real story is? These kids
This
don't...
disrespect.
This disrespect. No, Chief.
Oh,
No.
I'm with you.
You're an embarrassment.
I don't know where we're...
Everything about this is an embarrassment. That thing that happened at BYU where they made the kids that they just said horns down on the T-shirts. They made them take their T-shirts off. Get the entire F out of here.
No
with
doubt.
this. This is as laughable and
No
as
doubt.
pathetic and as embarrassing as anything. I refuse to believe that the SEC will put up with this nonsense. I refuse to believe that the other schools in the SEC will go along with this snowflake S from Texas.
It is amazing.
Imagine.
It is amazing.
It's so embarrassing. It's so pathetic.
Back in the old days, people used to jump on the Old Mill track before the football game and spray paint Old Mill socks on the track.
Well, I mean,
I heard that.
Right. How would you know?
I heard that's what they
I
did.
heard that was something that happened there.
And then ran
God.
off.
God. Could you imagine?
It's unbelievable.
And by the way, I'm all for there being reason with this. Like, if somebody shows up wearing a T-shirt of the middle finger thing, the Ravens T-shirt, and a school said, we're not doing that here. I get it. I would be okay with that. Of you saying, hey, there are kids here. Like, they come to the games. I heard lots of things when I was a student in college, but I get it. The idea, I don't like it anymore. I'm out on that. I don't want to hear, F you. I don't want to hear that type of stuff because I got kids and I didn't understand it.
In fairness, the 70,000 people chanting Bull S at the AFC Championship game, my 16-year-old son has heard it. And I had other 16-year-old kids there because some of the Cowdell kids were at the game too. I get that. It still makes me cringe.
Yeah, I mean that.
I understand it. It still makes me cringe.
It's not as bad as some other things,
Right.
but I hear you. on
Particularly
that.
when 70,000 people are
Right,
doing it.
I get it. I completely get it. I would just say this is nothing.
It's awful.
This is nothing And this thing, where like you people think that it's like
And you
disrespect.
taunt one another the entire
Correct.
game.
These people
This
in
is what I
Texas
can't
are
figure
acting
out.
like they're having their flags spit on.
Right.
Get out of here, dude. Get it.
No doubt.
It.
It's
I don't,
awful.
I don't care about Texas at all, and it makes my blood boil. That was first on my list. We should have covered it last week. Second on my list.
It's awful.
There is nothing to me that's more embarrassing, and we have seen a lot of them in the last.
I love how
years.
you're getting more hateful as you get older.
These social media videos where an NFL team forces all of their employees to come out to the lobby and give a hero's welcome
Oh, Mike
to their
McDonald.
new
Mike
head
McDonald
coach,
got this last
who is
week.
it's not just Mike McDonald.
Oh.
Dave Canales got it. Dan Quinn.
Gotcha.
These guys who have done nothing
Right.
that are forced only for social media. It's just for the gram. Like, somehow you can win by having more people show up in your lobby to clap for a guy who's never done an effing thing. And there's a 1 in 6 chance won't be the head coach at the end of next season.
He'll be gone in 2 years.
I didn't go back to look, but I'm going to guess that Frank Reich got that whole hero's welcome when the Carolina Panthers brought him in because they wanted to show it on social media. He lasted for half a year. They accomplished nothing.
I love it. You're so mad. I love it.
Nothing. But we all got to. This guy that works in IT that doesn't even like football is being told, you got to come out here.
Right.
You got to come out and stand in the lobby and pretend like this is a guy that went to the moon and is now coming back to Earth, that he went off and fought in war. He's done nothing.
Yeah, did you serve an active duty, or were you just the first aid guy?
Right. They are treating these
Right.
like we need to give him a hero's welcome. Why? Because it's going to look good on social media. We are
but how
lost as a society.
Okay, so now go ahead. Now I'm gonna push you because
Go
I really
ahead.
love the fact that you're mad.
Go ahead.
Now, how does that segue into this is the problem with the country?
This is the problem, that we care about what something looks like on social media
Okay.
versus what actually
What the
matters.
reality is. Okay, I, there you go. I'll buy that.
Somebody couldn't do their job. And by the way, you've been involved with stuff like this. That cost these people 45 minutes to an hour of their day.
Sure.
An hour's worth
Come
of
on down
production.
because he's not around.
Right. They don't know
Yeah.
exactly what time he's going to get there.
He stopped
They're
to
like,
get something to eat real quick.
100%.
Right.
They want to make sure everybody's lined up in the right way so it looks right on the video. All right, you're a little bit shorter, so we need you over here. An hour's worth of production from 80 different people for a video that no one will ever care about. Ever.
Right. Well, the whole thing.
And it bothers me. It's the statue thing, too. It bothers me. It's just a football coach. They didn't do anything. They just got a job.
Well,
they're getting paid millions of dollars, by the way, for that job. They don't need this.
Well, we've gone now. Let me give you an example of something from my life experience, and we're doing the same thing now. When we started with the blast, the biggest way that we got people to come out to the arena was we went into the community.
Bingo. Bingo.
We went into the community. Now, we would go out and we would go to schools and go to hospitals and we would play volleyball against your PTA. We went out and did that. That brought people to the arena, and that was awesome.
Yep.
Then we decided we would let kids play on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
That was our next step.
Correct.
We let soccer-playing kids come play on the arena floor, same floor as the blast. Come on out at 3 o'clock, buy 20 tickets. Your team can play on the floor. And what we did while we were doing that, what we eventually did, and it took a decade for this to happen, but what we did was we de-celebrity'd the players. We did.
They're just one of us.
Correct.
Yep.
We de-celebrity'd those guys, and they became touchable. Oh, Jason Dieter, he comes out to my under-8 soccer practice. and we took the aura away from the field.
I want to have a story.
We took the aura away from the field. You remember the first scene of Ted Patterson? Ted
Lasso, yes.
The very first scene? The very first scene?
Also dead.
And he is.
Love
the very first scene of Ted Lasso was the two coaches going out on the field.
Right.
And Nate running and saying, "Get off the field."
Right.
You're not allowed to be on the field.
Right.
The field's for the players.
Yeah.
We are doing that now with social media as it relates, and we all love this. We love to hear the jibber jabber on the sidelines. Odell saying to Lamar, "You got this, dog." We love all of that, but we're getting, and it's not right now. Right now, we're still foaming at the mouth over this. We're not that far away though from de-celebrating these people. I'm telling you, we're not that far away from it because we bring you in. We bring you in,
but it's still hands off. It's still on social media. I would actually go the opposite way. They're not going out to the community. They're not going out and touching people.
That's totally true.
You can only see them on camera. You can only. You started to go somewhere that I wanted to go. That coach on that first day, bring him around. Go take him to all of the employees. Say,
in fairness,
we want to introduce you.
In fairness, Kevin Bird did that with John Harbaugh.
I want to introduce you. This person.
You know who else did it? I can't believe I'm going to say this. The Orioles did it with Lee Mazzilli because I was there.
Right, I remember.
They brought Lee Mazzilli to. Now Lee Mazzilli bitched and moaned about the drive-in.
I get it. I get the whole thing. But I'm saying, do that. Take the coach to meet all of the employees. Find out what they all do. Say, hey, this is a really special person here. This is Shelly. Shelly works in food services, and you're going to love Shelly. She's going to be your best friend. Go take the coach around.
Well, instead they're doing the opposite.
This thing where you force
We're
everybody to
celebrity
come out
the coach.
and pledge fealty, and this is the greatest human that's ever lived, and God, we are just so, and they're just a guy. Out of here with
Just
that.
showed the Mike McDonald video.
Did you?
Yeah. If you
I
want
mean,
to
I don't
narrate it.
I have no beef. It's not about Mike McDonald specifically. Everybody
concept,
does.
yes.
Everyone
Yes.
does it. All of the. It's a social media thing now. You've got to show the moment that he arrives. By the way, it's definitely not the moment that guy arrived. It's just some stage nonsense for social media.
Oh, sure.
It's laughable. It's embarrassing, and it's what's wrong with our country. Last one. Nobody knows what a yield sign means. We're hopeless as a society. No one knows what a yield sign means anymore.
Well, no, we know. We know what a yield sign is. No, let me tell you. You'll go back to one of your key points.
Right. It's we're the star of the show.
I gotta get in there.
I'm so glad I don't work as much as we used to on Cold Spring Lane because that was the most dangerous one. That entrance to 83 from Cold Spring Lane, when you're coming from where I now come from at Loyola's Lacrosse Stadium, you have the right of way. The people that are coming from the other side, Hamden, where we did the old show, where the old studio was, they do not. They have a yield sign. Yield does not mean figure your spot in. See if you could slide in if there's a speed up. That's not what it means. Yield means they have the right of way.
Right.
You stop.
But I got to get where I'm getting.
Yeah. I'm more important than you.
Yeah.
But I know I brought it up with red lights. Yield signs, it's a disaster. Everybody knows what a yield sign means on a highway. Everyone understands what a yield sign means once they're on the highway. But when you're not on a highway, you genuinely believe that a yield sign means merge. That's what you think it means. Because there are places where two lanes come together and the sign says merge. People really believe that that's what a yield sign means when you're not on a highway. You understand on a highway because those cars are going 70 miles an hour and you're not going 70 miles an hour yet. So you can't just merge. You have to make sure that you do this the appropriate way. It's the same thing when you're not on a highway. What's wrong with this country? What did you prepare for today?
Well, is Baltimore County the only current county with the plastic bag thing?
No.
Who else is doing that?
Well, the city definitely does it.
The city's doing it.
There are other counties that don't. I don't think Hartford County does it.
Right. There are some that aren't doing it.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And the principal reason behind it is what?
The environment.
Gotcha. And then you're now, and no one does it, of course, but now you're dinging me for the bag.
If you choose to, yes.
We'll cut the trees down or we'll recycle that paper. But now you're going to charge me, and of course everybody just hits zero when it says how many store-bought bags. I just keep hitting zero.
Oh, So you're just openly admitting that you're stealing.
I am not paying you
5
for a
cents.
bag to buy.
That's why I'll just carry my stuff out.
I'm not paying for a bag.
I agree with that. And this we agree about. I'm not paying for a bag.
I'm not.
But I don't lie either. I don't use bags.
Well, I'm not. I just bought all this stuff at your store. I'm not paying for a bag.
Drew and I actually bought carpenter bags or contractor bags at
Oh, yeah,
Target
we had
when
to.
We were,
Right.
When we were
Well, that was
getting
where
all
it
the
first
donations.
kind of dawned on me when the girl
Yeah.
goes, we don't really have any bags anymore. I'm like, where do I put my stuff
Correct.
in?
So will the next evolution of this segment be how do we fix these problems, or we're just pointing out a...
The way you fix it is you say to the store that this is a shame. And if you have to charge 4 more cents for an ear of corn and for coffee, go ahead and just factor it in. You can't charge people for bags.
For what it's worth, they should be saving money because they don't have to supply bags to everybody, but they don't seem to have passed those savings off to us in any capacity.
Well, this is the next thing that's wrong, and I threw it away. You've made the Reese cups smaller. And you're still charging, but you're still charging the same money.
Well, I think that's called shrinkflation.
You've done
I
the,
believe
you've
that's
done
what
the
that's
same.
called.
You're doing
Yeah.
the same thing.
That exists
and
everywhere.
again, I go back to this. This is what's wrong with this country. We're doing this right now as it relates to to politics. We're trying to hoodwink everyone.
Well, I mean, that's who we are. Our greatest export at this point is fraud.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
We're trying to hoodwink everybody.
Yep. We scheme. That's what we have. That's what we offer now as a society here. In
Reese
America.
cups are still 99 cents, but they're smaller.
Correct.
And here's the thing. I know it.
So are your chicken wings.
I know it.
Yep.
You're not. I would rather you say, be honest, which
Right.
again is the opposite of what we've learned to do. Just say to me, be honest.
The Reese's cups are smaller now.
I love Eagle's Nest.
Yes.
Been there for 10 years.
Right, we got to hurry up because we got to get a break and we got a guest coming.
I love Eagle's Nest. There used to be 4 quesadillas.
Yep.
They raised the price by $1.
And now you get 3.
And now you get 3.
Yep,
And I
100%.
said to Gary, I love Gary. Gary, I know you think I'm a dummy. I notice it.
Yep.
There used to be 4, now there's 3.
Yep.
Don't act like you didn't do it.
Yep.
Because I know you did.
It's called shrinkflation. It's a very common thing. It's extraordinarily frustrating.
Biggest part of what's wrong with our country is
We're just trying to get one over on.
We're trying. Everybody is trying to dupe someone.
It's all a scheme. It's all a scheme. That's what this show has been. All right, that's what's wrong with this
I
country.
don't know if it's that way in Canada.
It's a good question.
I just don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they have more
All right, we got
sympathy
we gotta take a
for
break.
people.
David Schoenfield from ESPN.
Oh,
Talk to him about
Canada.
the Orioles and whether they're the team to beat in the American League now with Corbin
Well, I'm
Burnes.
telling you they are.
Thank you. That's next. Drew's, I guess, still here. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Jeremy Kahn here. The ultimate sports betting experience in Maryland is at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook. Join me at either location in Canton or in Towson and place your bets in person and be a part of the action. It's the best in-class sports wagering experience, complete with the ultimate TV package, ensuring you can catch every game all day, every day. Their state-of-the-art facilities bring Las Vegas energy right here to Maryland just in time for postseason football. So visit the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton and Towson and elevate your game day experience and hang out with me to bet, watch, and win at the Turtle.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Back in here on GCR, Drew Forrester is here with us on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. If you missed it, Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson got together on Monday to talk Orioles, talk baseball, and you can find that show, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan, Ross, Luke, every Monday talking baseball in those locations, starting live at facebook.com/PressBoxSports.
Did you know, I had no idea about this. Did you, let me get my headset on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you know Michael Stipe and Natalie Merchant were a thing?
No, I don't think I knew that. By the way,
because I always thought Michael...
Griffin and I actually had lunch together a couple weeks, and Wonder was playing at Glory. We were at Glory Days Grill. Everyone knows I love Glory Days.
I Wonder? You mean the Kanye song?
No, Wonder by Natalie Merchant.
Oh,
I must be one of
right,
the
okay.
wonders. God's own
okay,
create.
yeah.
That song was playing, and I proceeded to give Griffin like a 20-minute lesson
on the 10,000
about
Maniacs.
10,000 Maniacs.
I
and
thought
Natalie
Michael
Merchant.
Stipe was only,
yeah.
No, I was shocked that he and Natalie Merchant had a relationship.
That's what you tune into this program for, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got for you.
I'm just saying.
Joining us now to talk a little bit about the Orioles and baseball. And he was very high, as most of us were, on the Orioles acquisition of Corbin Burnes. Covers MLB for ESPN and ESPN.com. He's Mr. David Schoenfield, and he's back with us now here on GCR. David, it's Glenn and Drew in Baltimore. It's great to catch up with you as always. Thanks for taking the time for us.
Hey, you bet, guys. I mean, I don't want to pull you away from the music conversation here, but if you want to do a little,
well, it's what people care about today. We need to do.
But David, did you know that? Did you know Michael Stipe and Natalie Merchant were a thing?
I did not know that.
See?
Maybe we didn't have social media back in the '80s, so maybe we weren't aware of those kinds of things back then. I don't know.
It's very difficult.
We could have named this. We could have named this segment. What's the frequency, David?
We could have done that. That would have been all right. Let's get into this. David Schoenfield.
We're going to the World Series.
Everything that you said at ESPN.com and ESPN Plus, I wholeheartedly agree with. And it's funny because the significance of Corbin Burnes is overwhelming. But, the significance of the Orioles adding Corbin Burnes is so much bigger than that. It's almost like Corbin Burnes is the micro here, and the macro is what this means perhaps for the future of the Orioles. It's a real price to pay, but it's a real price that's 1,000% worth it, even acknowledging Corbin Burnes is only going to be an Oriole for one season.
Yeah, look, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of, I call it groupthink that goes on in baseball, and that is this word sustainability. And that's what a team like the Brewers, why they would make this kind of trade. They're trying to remain a consistent playoff contender, and they're not going to re-sign Burnes. So that's why they make this trade. But what I love is a team willing to roll the dice a little bit and trade for now. The goal is to try to win a World Series. And, of course, the Orioles, they're in a great position. We know that. The future is bright. There's a potential dynasty brewing here. So they absolutely had to make a trade like this, even if they gave up a couple interesting young players.
I feel like you present this scenario where it now becomes measured in a one-year window. And the question that I've been posing is Corbin Burnes enough that as constituted today, the Orioles could be a World Series winner with this roster this season.
Yeah, look, absolutely. You know, even if I probably didn't view them as a 101-win team on paper, you know, they, a little lucky in the run differential department last year, but it's a great team. You got all these young players who have a chance to keep improving. And we know, we just looked at that rotation in October last year when you're rolling out Kyle Gibson, quality veteran, but when he's your number 3 starter in a playoff series, you need to upgrade. And in Corbin Burnes, you get a potential number 1 starter, the kind of guy you're happy to roll out in the first game of a playoff series. And it just makes the Orioles X percentage more likely to win the World Series for sure.
David Schoenfield is with us here on GCR. David, that being the case, if they've identified, and it's difficult because I'm not trying to suggest it's all or nothing for this year because their window should be open, but again, Corbin Burnes is only going to be here for this year. Are there more moves they should make to try to fortify that either before the season or before the trade deadline?
I don't think they have to. I think, look, there's no doubt the 9th inning is going to be a question all year with Craig Kimbrell. Unfortunately, that's not really a question that's going to be answered most likely until October, which is a roll of dice, but it's not necessarily something you're looking to upgrade now. You gave him a sizable 1-year deal, right? He's going to be your closer. I think you let the season play out. You see where you are in July, see if you need to add another starter, see if you need to add some bullpen depth, if somebody in the outfield gets hurt, what have you. But, no, I don't think it's imperative to do anything else right now.
What about a bat? Glenn and I talked earlier, the Orioles obviously changed the stadium configuration to kind of diminish right-handed hitters. And realistically, the only prominent guys left that they would even think about pursuing on short-term deals are Martinez and Soler, like almost would be counterproductive. But it does feel like maybe they need another bat.
Yeah, look, I would love either of those guys. I think that's a fair argument to make. Are Soler or Martinez going to want to play in Baltimore? I don't know. Hitters like to put up big numbers, right?
Right.
And for right-handed power hitters, that's certainly a detriment. But look, money talks. It certainly fits into the overall scheme here, of which is you're not going to commit any long-term money to like a Cody Bellinger. You don't want to hamper the payrolls down the road. Of course, we don't know once the new owners get approved what kind of payrolls the Orioles will be running down the road. But yeah, I'm with you. JD Martinez had an unbelievable year last year with the Dodgers. I think he'd be a good fit. And if he wants to play for a winner, that's a possibility.
David, he might hit 20 homers at Fenway Park.
Right. Right. There is something to be said.
Yeah,
for that.
he was that's a fair point. There's no doubt he's probably there's going to be some regression in his numbers. He's a little all or nothing now. His walk rate's not great. The strikeouts have increased.
That just sounds like the rest of baseball, Dave.
Yeah, right.
Well, exactly. He's a little older. He starts cheating on the fastball. That leads to more strikeouts on the off-speed stuff. But other than 2020 and COVID, the guy puts up numbers every year. So pretty reliable bat for another year, I think.
We know Tampa's going to win 95 games. We don't know how or why, but we just know they're going to win 95. Other than that, give us your little thumbnail sketch on the division. It just I don't know, man. I've been buying so much stock in the Blue Jays the last 3 years. I'm broke. And I don't feel like the Yankees or the Red Sox are that much of a threat. But we know Tampa, we hate it, but we know they're going to be hanging around. Anybody else in the division strike you?
Yeah, they'll find a way. And look, don't discount the Yankees. Come on, you guys know better. I know they had an off year, but a lot of injuries, right, in that rotation. If Carlos Rodon and Nestor Cortez come back and they sign Marcus Stroman, right, they might. Wouldn't surprise me if they sign a Jordan Montgomery or a Blake Snell to add another starter. Obviously, Juan Soto alone that's 6 or 7 wins. Their left fielders were the worst in baseball last year. So you're not only adding Soto, but you're getting rid of, terrible production. So obviously, he might be my preseason MVP pick in the American League. So I think the Yankees are going to be right there. Blue Jays, I'm with you. They're an 89-win team again. I don't see why they're any better than they were last year.
David, one of the things that's been a storyline in Baltimore this week, because now that the Orioles have got, to your point, new ownership and went out and got Corbin Burnes, we're getting greedy, is we see the deal that Bobby Witt gets from the Royals, and Orioles fans say, well, we got some guys that are kind of similar players to Bobby Witt, and also the guy that was selected one pick ahead of Bobby Witt in the draft. And can't the Orioles start doing that? And I get it that it's complicated. I got into a back and forth with Brian Spielberg's yesterday. Like, I don't think you can just try to give Adley Rutschman the same deal. My fear was that Rutschman would say, I'm a year away from arbitration, I'm good. But so was Bobby Witt, and he went ahead and did this anyway. Can you make the same offer to a catcher? Can you do an 11-year deal for a catcher? Brian Spielberg seems to think that it's worth it, and you go ahead and you try. I just don't know. Is that plausible? Because it feels like that's the type of money that it would take in order to try to get someone like Adley Rutschman to consider this.
Yeah, I think there's two issues here. One, the Witt deal for a player with 2 full years of service time is pretty unusual. Usually you got to sign those guys before the end of their first year, right? Or before, they even make it. Like Seattle, when they signed Julio Rodriguez, in August of his rookie year to that big extension. Or, what the Braves did early on with Acuna and those guys. So the Witt deal kind of came out of left field. I wouldn't expect a deal like that for Rutschman. And like you said, it's for a catcher, it's risky. The one team that did that was the Twins with Joe Mauer, and he ended up, the last half of that deal with the Twins, it wasn't really worth it because Mauer had to move to first base because of the injuries. Gunnar Henderson, I think you would have to do that now, before the end of spring training. The same thing. Once he gets to 2 years, those deals just aren't likely to happen.
Are you of the belief that you can't do it with Scott Boras' client? Because that's the problem with Gunnar and Jackson Holiday is they're Boras guys, right? And this is the difficult part for me is I don't want to write off any of these things as being possible, but I don't know. It doesn't seem likely to me. Is it not possible with Scott Boras' clients to do this type of deal, or is that overblown? You'd have to look at the history there. I don't think it's impossible. And look, you're not going to get any discount at this point, right? Those two guys, they already know once they hit arbitration, their salaries are going to start skyrocketing. So even though they're still making, a relatively, quote, low salary for another year or two, it's not too long where they're going to be making 10, 15, 20 million, right? I think Soto last year made $25 million in arbitration. So that's the path those guys are on. So they're going to be fine. So in the end, it's going to be the new owners, right? Are they going to come in? Are they going to convince these young kids this is the place to be? We want to keep you. You want to play here. And we don't know how that's all going to unfold yet. David Schoenfield, what can we plug for you? And podcasts, anything. What can we get a plug in for?
Nothing immediately. Just working on some stuff for next week. I'm digging into some spring training previews. A player to watch in every team, that kind of stuff. So I'm like you guys. We're just kind of getting ready for spring training to start. And, hey, we still got some free agents out there, right? A lot of Cody Bellinger, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Matt Chapman, maybe not superstars, but very good players that'll, make a difference wherever they land.
You bring up the free agents. I know there's also still the Dylan Cease thing. Where's your Emmanuel Clase? We do a wacky Would You Rather Wednesday bit, and his name comes up. I think that people around baseball don't understand how valuable Emmanuel Clase might be. What is it worth paying a significant premium to try to go get Emmanuel Clase right now?
If I'm the Orioles, I would do it. I know I don't have his contract terms in front of me, but
it's
he's
unbelievable.
Signed at a very low salary.
It's
right?
really remarkable. I'll pull up the numbers. It's like 5 years, $20 million, something like that.
It's ridiculous. So, look, do you want him over Craig Kimbrell? I mean, yeah, of course you would. Absolutely. Imagine him when Felix returns, in 2025, right? And look, the Orioles, they still don't have room for all their prospects. I get wanting to keep that depth, for injuries or whatever, but frankly, they still have too many position players and not enough places to play all of them. So I would absolutely, if I'm Baltimore, consider trading, a couple more prospects for Clase. Absolutely.
What if it was Samuel Basayo?
No.
Okay. All right. There you go. There's that
This
answer.
kid, I don't know how much, the Orioles are believing in this guy, but I don't want to say he's the next Rushman Gunnar Henderson, but I think he might be. I think he's going to be a stud.
We're going to win like 7 of the next 9 World Series.
Well, I told
we haven't been to one since '83.
I'm a Mariners fan. My editor is an Orioles fan, and I think I need to switch allegiances here because I want to root for a team that might make some World Series.
Well, the Mariners are going to be good when Rutschman goes there in a couple of years.
Oh, stop it.
Well, there
That's
you go.
enough. That's enough. David Schoenfield, appreciate you. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
David Schoenfield with us here on GCR. Yeah, I was trying to get people to bite in.
Rutschman's going there.
Stop. What is your deal?
Why, by the way, what would Bobby Witt? Why would Bobby Witt? What's wrong with him?
What do you mean, what's wrong with him? It's an awful lot of money.
Do you like barbecue or something? Like, why would you stay in Kansas City?
They have a young nucleus.
Oh,
they have
please. They're the Royals.
They won a World Series.
Yeah, but that was a fluke.
Okay.
They beat us.
Correct. Well, that was not the year they won the World Series.
Oh, no, they lost to the Mets that year, right? No.
Yes.
No, they beat the Mets.
They lost
to the Giants.
Yes. Thank you.
I think it was the Giants, right?
It was.
12, 13, 14, somewhere around
14 was the year they beat the
us.
Orioles.
Then
yes,
they beat the Mets
LCS.
the next year.
Correct. That's the way that it went.
How did he get Chick from Armando? How would you get the name Chick when your first name's Armando?
Drew Forrester.
It's been bothering me for like a half hour.
Oh, clearly.
What else do we have today?
Nothing. Nothing.
We good.
We're
just going to stay to one.
CountySportsZone.com is your headquarters for
Oh.
local high school scores, schedules, and standings across all sports.
5 in a row for the Hall.
Would you stop? CountySportsZone.com is proudly sponsored by Toyota. It's the frustrating part is I watch you do radio shows over at 105.7, and you don't do any of this stuff. You don't just get up and walk out of the room.
I had to pee.
You don't just do we took a commercial break. You could have gone and peed. You didn't do that.
Am I on this
You
Sunday?
waited until-
Are we flipping or not?
We got to talk about that.
I got the old okey doke last week when I checked in.
What do you mean you got the okey doke?
I don't know. We'll talk about it after the Super Bowl. I'm like, I need to know what's going on. Are we flipping?
Well,
or?
I'm fine with it, but you got to make sure. He didn't like it. He was like, I really like this. And I was like, I would rather do 12.
Yeah,
myself.
I don't like it. And
Yeah.
I'd really like to do 5.
So you better talk to
I'm
him,
on it.
man.
I'm on
You
it.
better have that conversation.
I'm
we're
on it.
We're with you. We're on board.
I might have to
We're
start doing
supportive.
guest segments or something.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
this is just impacts my.
Drew really doesn't
life.
like doing noon to 1 at the radio station. Really opposed to
I don't
it.
even. I want to do what's best for golf, and to talk about at noon. I'd rather talk about what just happened at 5 o'clock, as it's happening.
Is that when the tournaments typically end? Is it
Yeah.
5?
5:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that does seem to make a little bit more sense.
Yes.
All right.
Particularly
do it.
once they come east. Right now, it's a little
they're out on
different.
the West Coast, right?
But once they come east in 2 weeks, everything is up. The
3 to 6 window for
Yeah,
TV
pretty much.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm on it.
let me know. I'm a very available individual. Don't know if you've heard that before.
That's what I heard.
So I tried in Would You Rather Wednesday. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to
All
you
right,
by
let me
Glory
hear
Days
it.
Grill. I tried to get people to bite on an Emmanuel Clase trade. Nobody's doing it.
Okay.
It was,
Well,
would
I
you
will.
rather the Orioles make one more move? It's to sign J.D. Martinez for 1 year or to trade Samuel Basayo for Emmanuel Clase.
That's all it is, just Basayo.
Yep.
I'll trade Sam Obasanya.
Sam Obasanya. You're willing to give up on him?
Give up on him.
He's quite the ladies' man.
I love when he told that Nigerian guy he wasn't playing for him.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to go to your house where you grew up. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to take a blank in every room.
So you're going to play Would You Rather Wednesday?
Yeah. But I don't want to talk about that because I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
Never heard of Samuel Basayo?
Well, I've heard of him.
I'm a little bit nervous about.
He's the catcher.
You're not familiar with Emmanuel Clase?
But again, they're unproven.
This is dynamite. Look, Emmanuel Clase is not unproven.
I'll do the trade.
What are we doing?
I'll do the trade. Just because a lot of people don't want it to be done.
Yes, that's correct.
And I'll do it.
Nobody. This is the problem, right? I have no problem with people saying no. It's the people that are trying to tell me that's a drastic overpay. No, it's not. In fact, if you run it through the machine, it still doesn't get you Emmanuel Clase. I did the numbers. It's not $20 million. Emmanuel Clase has 3 more years. He waived off arbitration and 2 years of club options. So all 5 years, including this year, Emmanuel Clase would cost a total of $33 million over 5 years. Not even $7 million per year. Yeah. Yeah. You want that? There's a reason why the Guardians are saying no. It's because everybody wants to give them their scraps for Emmanuel Clase.
If we could, say that we would definitely re-sign one of these 3, Holiday, Gunnar,
but there's
Adley.
no reason to think that this is 30. This is the type of thing that shouldn't mess with anything.
Are you making this
else.
deal because of Batista, or you just want him?
I said a year ago I wanted them to trade for Josh Hader when they already had Felix Batista.
Right.
Like this world,
but you would,
everybody has watched the playoffs.
But if they had Batista
Even with
healthy,
Batista,
yes.
would you get rid of this catcher
yes.
for?
Well, that part I don't know. That in a vacuum, and I brought this up yesterday. We were talking with Ryan Spielborgs, the Batista factor. You need multiple closers on your team. We have done this too frequently. Like, you know what postseason baseball looks like. You know that you need a closer, a legit shutdown guy in the 6th inning and then again in the 9th inning. You need multiple closers in order to go win a World Series.
Okay.
Guys that you trust in extremely high leverage situations.
Brian Baker.
Yeah, there you go. Brian
come
Baker
to mind?
can be the answer. Right now, I don't know that the Orioles have.
We brought him in the 4th inning.
That's a fact. I don't know that the Orioles have one arm that I feel like I truly trust in high leverage situations right now.
Okay.
Like, that's the reality. I hope that Craig Kimbrell finds some fountain of youth here.
Yeah, I don't know about him.
But I have almost I'm it's not just that I'm reasonably down on Craig Kimbrell personally. I think that's I have almost no faith in Craig Kimbrell. When they signed him, it was, okay, great, now who's going to be your closer? You want to bring him in the 7th inning, but who's going to be the closer? And thought was it was going to be DL Hall. Well, it ain't going to be DL Hall. So I know you brought up earlier that it could be Tyler Wells. It might very well be Tyler Wells. But Felix Batista returning the following year would have no impact in a vacuum on my decision about Emmanuel Clase. Now, we can debate Basayo versus Clase. That a lot of people are on board with Samuel Basayo might be the top prospect in baseball next year. It'd be 4 straight, right? Like, that part is tough. And he's a left-handed hitter, which we know is extraordinarily more valuable in Baltimore now. So I'm probably going to tell you I can't do it either, but the point is you're not getting Clase.
I'll do it.
If we're talking, all right. So if we're talking about a package, I mean, man, my answer, I guess, is no.
I'll do it
because I want to hang on to Basayo. I'm trying to figure out what another package would be.
I'll give him.
I tried.
I'll give him Basayo and I'll give him Dean Kramer.
So it'd be like Kerstad.
Go ahead. Just keep. Go ahead.
I just give them all.
I try.
Who do you want?
Let's go
Holiday.
Let me go to the baseball trade machine.
You guys want a Holiday?
Yeah, right. You're just gonna get rid of everybody?
Just call him up.
You don't even know who Emmanuel Clase is.
He's a pitcher. I know who he is.
What is he? All right, I'm not even.
He was 3-9 last year.
He was. That is true. He did blow some saves last year. That did happen. If
he also saved a lot of games.
He did save a lot of games. That part is true. But he did. He had 9
the
losses.
Indians were a playoff team pretty much because of him.
More or less.
Yeah.
More
they
or
were.
less. That's a fact.
Because they kind of that division was terrible, but they snuck in down the stretch pretty much because of him.
Okay, so here we go. You want to try to build this deal. You got to get 51.4 points.
I mean, because I feel like I'm almost
in the trade machine in order to try to get Clase. So if you want to go Kobe Mayo instead,
does that get us there?
It would be
sure.
It would get you close.
Yeah, Mayo.
So you're saying you would do Mayo for Clase?
Yes. Would that be enough?
It not according to the trade machine.
Gets you 48 points.
It gets you 43.7.
Okay.
So you'd have to throw something. You could throw in Norby and do it.
You can have him too.
If you threw in Norby,
Yeah, I mean, again, both
it's
those guys
51.7 on one side, 51.4 on the other. Now, again, we got to acknowledge the trade machine is imperfect.
Yeah.
It is imperfect.
It was making it look like Ohtani was.
Yeah, we've been through this a bunch of times.
Watch what
it
you
is
say about
imperfect. But we don't have anything else to work with. It's the only reference that we have. So they would say Mayo and Norby could get you Class A.
And I feel like it would be more than that.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
I feel like just because
I don't know. People are really accepting Mayo as
team-friendly.
being like a legitimate
Okay.
major league power bat, which again
I
is the thing that I think the Orioles need, which
yeah,
makes
I
all
would
of this
think
very
if I'm
difficult.
Cleveland, I could get more.
No, it's totally possible they would say, "Yeah, we're not doing it still. We're still not doing it. We don't have to."
Rooster or something.
Every guy from Cleveland should want to get out of there just because they changed the name.
Great point. Great point. This is why
Talk
we bring
about-
him in every
I'll
now.
say we'll force
You know,
the
every
trade.
now and then I'm like,
talking about
why
what's
do we
wrong-
keep doing this with Drew?
You're talking about what's wrong with the country.
Right.
That's one of the
There
things
you go.
wrong.
That's what we got. That's what we got from him.
Change the name.
What were the other would you rather ones? Oh, your boss didn't give you a Christmas bonus. I think we can relate.
Jeez.
Your boss didn't give you a Christmas bonus. Instead,
Okay.
believe it or not, they're going to offer you all expenses paid trip this weekend to Vegas for the Super Bowl, including tickets.
Wow.
Just for the weekend. Leave Friday, come back Monday. Or 2 tickets to any regular season game of your choosing next year. Football game is what I said. As somebody pointed out, I purposely left it vague. It could be a college game.
I'm quitting.
Would you just answer the effing question?
You didn't give me a bonus.
Would you just?
Well,
I happen to know you worked somewhere for a long time where you never got a Christmas bonus. I happen to know that.
Well, I did.
Oh, did you?
You didn't.
1 year.
I have no interest.
1 year it was. You can go to this website and pick a gift of your choice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm
Cooler.
good.
A Yeti.
I'm good without the hula hooping Elvis.
Right.
Like, I
A
think
Yeti.
I'll be all right.
This is a great thing.
Yeah.
You guys can go to the site and pick. They got coffee mugs.
Yeah. There you go.
You could get your face on it.
Worth it. Very much.
I have no interest in going this weekend, so you can eliminate that.
So then the answer would be the other one.
Oh,
It's either you take the weekend,
oh.
or you get tickets to any regular season game of your choice next year.
I thought it was, or you get the money. Okay.
No, there's no money involved.
I'll take next year.
Okay.
Because I'll go to Brazil.
Oh.
You can do that. Now, it's not an all expenses paid trip. It's just the
it's not?
tickets. That's the point. Just the tickets.
I'll take the tickets still.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I want to. I'll go.
Could I get a-
Vegas
This is spoken.
Could I get a
this is
PIL?
spoken as someone who's never been to a.
Could
Super
I get
Bowl.
a PLL game?
A what?
A PLL game.
That's what. I tell you what. Yes, by all means, you can have
Throw that in there.
No, I would.
Whip Snakes versus the Avalanche.
I would pick some massive college football game. Like I would pick some
national championship
Between the hedges
no,
or something.
I said regular season.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But whatever it is, Auburn, Alabama, something that I've never experienced before.
Army, Navy.
I've done Army, Navy a few times, so I'm
Maryland,
good.
Indiana.
Maryland, Virginia.
You know what? I don't think I've ever done Maryland, Indiana.
Didn't we lose to them this year, or did we beat them?
Yes.
Did we lose to them in football?
No,
We lost to Northwestern.
they lost to Illinois.
Oh,
for sure
Illinois.
this year.
Right.
They
That was
did
at
beat-
home.
I think they beat Indiana. I think that made them 5-0.
That was at
Yeah, they
home.
did. They did.
Yeah.
Yes, they
We
at
lost to them
home
in
to
D.C.
Illinois. No, they didn't play the game in D.C. I don't think
Wow.
they've ever played a game in D.C.
In that
Well,
vicinity.
they played at the Military Bowl. You got
In
a
the
good point. They
vicinity.
did play in D.C. once.
We lost 27-24 to Illinois.
You're the Maryland guy.
We lost
Or
27.
basketball. You're only a basketball.
No,
guy. You're
we
not really
we lost in football too,
No, but I'm just like,
27-24.
are you a Maryland? You're a Maryland basketball P1 now. I don't know where you are with Maryland football.
P14.
Okay, all right, there you go. It's just basketball.
But I do know we lost in that one because the total was 52.5.
Did you?
We lost twice.
Oh man, I was gonna save this for this is the one prep that I did for the radio show tomorrow night, and I gotta edit it. Did you? You didn't happen to watch the Maryland-Iowa women's game on Saturday?
I saw some of it.
What's that?
I saw some of it.
Boy, did you hear what Gus Johnson said?
I know, but I heard a rumor about what he
Oh,
said.
man.
So let me.
hang on. I'll forward it to Griffin real quick. This was because I can't.
This was a
I
faux
can't
pas.
I can't actually play it on the air.
Oh, you can't?
Well, I'm gonna play it tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to edit it.
Oh, gotcha. But you can play it here because nobody cares.
Well, because we're on the internet. We don't have
Right.
the same rules
Right,
here.
sure.
that they
Internet,
have.
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, more or less. So Gus
I did not
Johnson.
see this.
Oh man.
All right, let me hear it. Is this
So,
like
Gus Johnson was on
Justin
the call for
Tucker hitting a 60-year-old?
Oh, yeah, right.
What did he say?
He was banging
a 60-year-old instead of a 60-yarder.
Instead of a 60-yarder, right? You got Gus Johnson had the call on Fox.
What
Big
happened to
Fox.
Gus, by the way? Gus was like a rock star.
He's still their top guy for basketball.
Yeah,
He's
but
still
he
there.
was a rock star for football too, right?
Well, he does their top college football game of the week too.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't do.
I feel like his star.
He doesn't do NFL. Well,
his
he
star
was the
dipped a
NCAA
little.
tournament. I would say in whole, the move to Fox was bad for Gus because he was most associated with college football or the
College
NCAA
basketball.
tournament and the NFL, and the move to Fox took him off both of those things.
Yeah.
Now he gets the biggest their biggest college football game of the week, but Fox's biggest college football game of the week sometimes is like Michigan State versus Wisconsin.
Right.
Like it's just not that big of a game. All right, so this is from Fox Saturday night. Gus Johnson working the Maryland-Iowa broadcast.
And here comes Sellers. Nice look inside, great position. No call on the play as Brianna Alexander had her shot blocked, And here comes Sellers.
Turn it up
Nice
a
look
little bit.
inside, great position. No call on the play as Brianna Alexander had her shot blocked, And here comes Sellers.
I think we got it.
Nice look
I mean,
inside, great position.
I didn't
And
hear.
for what it's worth, she did. Like,
I didn't hear.
She did.
I didn't hear it.
you didn't?
No, I'm
did.
saying that's the first time I heard. it.
You were watching the game?
Not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not that big of a deal, but it was great.
I tell you, who was a big deal?
Who?
That freaking girl.
She is.
That girl is.
Now I'm going to be the one.
really good.
It's possible this girl at USC is better.
I don't think so.
Like, it's possible that she's just not getting the attention and that this girl might actually be better. But Caitlin Clark's ridiculous.
Oh,
Nobody's going to
my
argue with that.
gosh.
It's insane. Like,
She's no shader on, but she's a hell of a
the
player.
casual nature of her logo three-pointers, it's out of control. Out of control. No, she's outstanding.
What do you think she's getting?
From them, well, I mean, she sells out every game. They better be giving her a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, they
She's-
better be giving her. They've never had anything like this. They've never. She's the biggest celebrity in the state, like by far. She might be the biggest celebrity in the history of Iowa. Who would compare?
Brock Purdy, like
no, Brock Purdy was not that big of a deal
George
in
Kittle.
Iowa. George Kittle was kind of a big deal in Iowa. I don't think there's ever been anything like this.
probably
Is
right.
she the best? Is she the
what's
most
the
well-known
PGA
women's
Tour-
basketball
what's-
player? Zach Johnson.
No, what's the event?
The
in
John
Iowa?
Deere.
The John Deere. They had her play
in the Pro-Am.
The Pro-Am at the John Deere last year, and I think they said something like it was the biggest attendance they've ever had for.
Is she from Iowa?
I don't even know if she's from. That's a funny question. I don't know.
We
the
should
answer
know
to
this.
That question. Well, we don't cover them, so it's not like
I'm
a
gonna
priority.
bet
She's got all
that
the State
she
Farm
is.
commercials.
She's from Des Moines. Yes.
Yeah.
She's from Des Moines.
Des Moines.
There's a
She attended a Catholic school, so she's a good kid.
Sure. Everyone that's ever gone to a Catholic school definitely proved to be a good kid.
Pretty much.
I can think of a few.
Yeah, but you're just doing that now.
Yeah,
Now you're just picking.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know that my kids are going to turn out to be good kids or not. I don't know how we got here. Would You Rather Wednesday is what we were doing. Yeah, I'm just going to some big college football. I've done the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's not that great.
Trying to
It's
think of
just
what-
not that.
Yeah, it really isn't.
And I would say, in fact, it's a lesser
Is
event.
she a senior,
than-
this girl?
Yeah, but she could.
She could play one more year.
But she won't. I mean, to do what?
We're still on COVID. That's another thing wrong with this country.
This will be. I guess this is the last year.
COVID.
Coming
I saw
up
somebody
next
in the store yesterday with a mask on.
Okay. Well, some people are sick.
Maybe they're protecting you.
Yeah, some people actually have like an illness and put on a mask, which is a good thing for them to do. I would say first stay home, but it's not always an option for everybody. What was I? Oh yeah, I'm going to go to the
mask up.
The Super Bowl stinks. The Super Bowl.
I guess
The only time in my life I went to a non-Ravens Super Bowl, I left at halftime. It was just such a nothing. Now, yes, I ended up missing the David. I could have said I was there for David Tyree's catch, and I wasn't. I left. I was gone. I left at halftime. It was so painfully uninteresting to me being at the Super Bowl that year.
Well, that was a low-scoring game that year.
It was also very low. People forget that. Like when
17-14
is exactly what it was. It was a painful game, and the process of trying to get there was difficult. And I was like, if I got to go through all that.
Where was that one?
It was in Glendale, out in Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That was the reason why I went. And then I said, I will not go to another one until the Ravens are in it again. And then I went. And if your team's not in it, I can't imagine why you'd have any interest in being at the Super Bowl. Now,
Super Bowl.
It's dreadful.
It stinks.
Trust me.
Stinks. It stinks. There is nothing
dreadful.
there. Like, going to a football game is a way more pleasant experience than going to the Super Bowl. And I don't like going to football games. Like, I don't like going to any of them. Super Bowl stinks. All right, and then number 3 was, this one's not.
No.
There's no chance you've watched Saltburn.
Who?
Yes. So this is going to be wasted.
I'll trade him.
There you go. You trade him. You got to go? You got to get out of here?
Yeah, I got stuff going on.
All right, what do you want to plug?
Just Drew's Morning Dish.
Proctor wanted to know if you were selling Drew's Morning Dish mugs with your face on them.
No, with Proctor's, actually, so we could throw him against the wall.
Well, that's what he was going to say. He needed something to smash.
Proctor. You know what I like about Proctor?
When he sleeps?
Nothing.
No, okay, there you go. All right, there's Drew. We'll come back in. I'll let Griffin answer the final Would You Rather because he's seen Saltburn, or at least
I haven't seen it, but yeah,
I'm assuming you're familiar.
I think I'm aware.
You're
Kevin
familiar.
Costner?
No, it's not. That's Yellowstone.
Oh,
very different than Saltburn,
gotcha.
Which I had not watched. Everybody kept talking about it, and I was like, and then I watched it, and I said, "Oh my god!"
Which one?
They don't. Saltburn.
Okay.
Jacob Elordi.
Jacob Elordi. Barry Keegan or Kogan. What's her face?
Else.
Who was in the girl from I Care a Lot? What's her name? She's in Saltburn. But there's some really effed up scenes in Saltburn.
Carey Mulligan.
Where?
Yeah, but Carey Mulligan is in it for like.
Where is it on?
Saltburn. It's on Prime.
Yeah, Prime.
Oh, I have that.
No. Yeah. Don't watch it with your kids.
Oh, really?
Definitely don't do that.
Okay.
There are 3 scenes in Saltburn. Oh man, I'll describe them to you during break.
No, I'm good.
I'm not gonna talk about them on the air.
Well, how are we gonna do the Would You Rather?
Because we're gonna work under the assumption that you know. All right, Drew,
okay.
Thanks for
I
stopping.
don't think I even need to know.
Yeah, a golf show on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, because it's our lead-in. So
yeah.
Reed and I are back on Sunday.
And then before that, Canton Gaming with
look
Jeremy
at that,
Kahn
big day,
and myself.
big day on. You're the co-host now.
Basically,
It's Jeremy and you get co-billing on the marquee.
Not yet.
Did you work that out? What's
yet.
the talent fee like? That's coming though.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. We'll come back in, do the last Would You Rather Wednesday, Tidbit and Tubular. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey, it's Jeremy Kahn. This postseason, bet in person at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks with locations in Canton and in Towson, and enjoy the best in-class sports wagering experience at their state-of-the-art facilities, bringing an unmatched sports betting thrill.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, winding down for a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Again, Would You Rather Wednesday brought to you by Glory Days Grill, where you can find Goose Flight's Lager. There you see it. It's available at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, as well as in cans at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton, Alonzo's in Roland Park, also in cans and 6-packs at both Guilford Hall Brewery and Station North and Costas Inn in Dundalk. 6-packs and cases at the Wine Source in Hamden. Go get it right now. Goose Flight's Lager. Delicious, refreshing, awesome collector's can, and $1.98 from every can sold goes to the Goose Flights Foundation and the work they're doing carrying on Tony Siragusa's legacy by providing non-emergency medical transport for those in need. Again, go get Goose Flights today. Find out more at PressBoxOnline.com/GooseFlights. All right, number 3 for Would You Rather Wednesday was, and it's going to lead into a conversation that we're about to have about what our punishment is going to be for picks. Number 3, Would You Rather? You lost your fantasy football league.
Never.
Well, you did.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that doesn't happen.
And because of that, you either A, have to do what the kid did from Barstool last night.
Okay, I didn't see that.
You got to. So I'm not a bar. Look, this is not a. I don't want to start a fight about it. I'm not a Barstool guy. I became aware that one of the personalities on Barstool lost a bet that required him to perform a 1-hour, one-man show in front of a live audience.
It's difficult.
It would require you to do that. You got to perform a 1-hour, one-man show in front of a live audience, or you have to. Are you familiar with the 3 scenes from Saltburn?
I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with like a couple. I think
there's a bathtub scene.
I'm
and all I ever heard about was
I am familiar with this one.
When I was like Jacob Elordi referenced it when he was doing his monologue on Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I don't know. When I finally watched it, it was somehow more disturbing than anything I was prepared for. There's a scene that involves a sex act, but in really unique circumstances. Actually, there's the next 2 scenes can kind of be quantified that way. The first.
When did you watch this?
When did I watch it? It was recently. It was the last couple of days. What did I finish? I finished something. I finished Dead to Me. I gave Dead to Me a shot. Made it through 3 seasons. It's the Christina Applegate, Linda Cardellini, who I hate. She's the worst human being that's ever lived. And I don't have any words.
Okay. All right.
So I watched Dead to Me, and I finished that, and I was like, everybody keeps talking about Saltburn. I'm gonna go watch Saltburn. And I was familiar that there were these scenes, and yet somehow they're still more disturbing.
Caught you off guard.
Like they're still that disturbing. So there's the bathtub scene. Then there's this, I'll call it the under the window scene. A young lady sitting underneath the window of this man, clearly trying to get his attention. It leads to a sexual act, but oh God, I don't want to do spoiler. Whatever. During a particular time of the month.
Okay, I do know this one too.
Okay,
I do know this one too.
And then there's a third one.
I don't think
you
think that's the extent of my knowledge.
You can't talk about the third one without there being. Well, I don't have to. There's a third scene in the film that involves a sex act being performed on a grave.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
This is tough.
Would you rather?
It's tough.
You lose your fantasy football league. You have to do the one-man show for 1 hour. Or you have to go to a book club gathering of senior citizens and graphically describe these 3 scenes from the film Saltburn.
All right, so when we're talking about a one-man show, I guess he like like he did like a play essentially, and he was
That's a
in front of like how big is this audience that we're talking? Is it like,
hundreds is what I would say.
man.
Hundreds, not thousands. Hundreds.
All right, so now versus a closer quartered, I'm talking to, but I don't know any of these senior citizens.
You don't know them. No, that's true.
So like
Well, I can't,
I go in there, I do my
here's the
thing.
I can't guarantee that you don't know them. It's possible because I started this by saying your grandparents, but then I don't know if people's like somebody who's Drew doesn't have any. I don't have any living grandparents, right? Like,
right.
So it's possible that someone there is someone you know.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
I'm not taking that off the table.
I feel like if you did guarantee that it was just the most random, relative.
I'm not guaranteeing that.
I might have to take my chances then and
hope
just hope and hope that I don't run into anyone I know with this senior citizen book club. And I just get in, do my thing, and I'll answer questions if they.
Oh yeah.
If they have more questions, but
yeah.
I think I can get through it.
Your buddy's grandmother's like, so what was he doing in the bathtub? I don't understand.
Yeah, in front of all my friends' grandparents, that would be
100%. Could be all.
I don't know them that well.
Could be all your. Oh, okay, so you're good. Could be all of your friends' grandparents that you could be doing this in front of.
I think I would lean towards that.
See, the funny part to me is that I wouldn't mind sucking doing the one-man show because, like, I almost feel like that's part.
They're talking about one of the scenes.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the bit, and I don't know. I'm never gonna watch this guy's. Again, it's not a knock. I'm not a Barstool person. There's plenty of people that are Barstool people. It's God bless you. It's not a thing. I love Eric. I love Banks. Those are my guys. But there's the guys, the Pardon My Take guys. I've never listened to their show, but they seem funny online. I dig it. But like, this isn't me trying to like denigrate Barstool. It's just not my.
They like Joe
thing.
Flacco, so yeah.
They definitely seem to like Joe Flacco quite a bit. There's plenty of things that people are into that it's just not my thing. It's fine. So I'll never watch that guy's show, but I'm guessing that like part of the bit was that he's supposed to suck. And so I would lean into the suck.
Right.
Like I would lean into it as part of the entertainment value.
You're singing or whatever.
Of
and
the
your voice
one-man
is just
show. Yeah, whatever it is that I'm going to do, I would be in on that. Well, it brings us to we have to decide what the punishment is going to be for ours. And no one's food options interested me.
Do something from Saltburn, yeah.
Well, we got to. Well, I actually thought about that. I actually thought about like writing out those scenes descriptively and forcing the loser to come into the show and read descriptively those scenes. I don't think that that's an option. I think that the answer is that side bet loser has to dress as a Las Vegas showgirl.
Oh, man.
And perform on the show 7.5-minute stand-up routine.
That's brutal.
That's a lot, right?
That is
but
a
it's
lot.
not in front of a like an audience at a club, right? Like, I do think that makes it a little bit different. Although we are going to have the video and we're going to post the video for the world to see. I think you have to prepare. Maybe I just call it 7-minute. A 7-minute.
7.5.
7.5. I like 7.5. 7.5-minute stand-up routine that you have to perform on this show. Now, this is the thing. Might not be the end of the world. You can just make fun of us the whole time.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, right? Like, if I lose, I'll just do 7.5 minutes on Griffin. Look at his stupid hair. Look at it. Look at that.
I don't know if you
What do you know? Not on a razor? I mean, it'll be bad. It's not going to be good. But I'll just do 7.5 minutes about, John Proctor. I'll do 7.5 minutes about KZ. I'll do 7.5 minutes about everybody in the crew. It'll just be a roast, more or less, probably at that point. Or I'll pull out some of my old standards. I could basically take that's what's wrong with this country shtick and probably turn it into a stand-up routine. The yield sign I could absolutely turn into a stand-up routine somehow. But that's what I would do. So I think you have to dress as a Las Vegas showgirl, since that's what the game is, for a show. So you got to order a costume and do a 7.5-minute stand-up routine on the show that we then are able to post out everywhere. And no help. You got to do it all on your own. There's no anything. No, we don't we don't interact. We don't nothing.
Oh, okay, you can't do
Silent.
where are you from?
Nope, none of that.
Fuck us.
None of that. Just 7.5 minutes of you. How you feeling about that?
It's tough. It's a tough punishment.
It's a lot to do, particularly because you're not really even picking games.
No, yeah. I mean, we're going to be doing – so we'll be doing, like, what, Kelsey yards and try to find a number for –
Oh, well, we're going to do even more. We'll do Gatorade.
Taylor Swift.
We'll do
Heads or Tails, obviously.
First song at halftime. We'll do –
Anthem over under.
We'll do a bunch of that type of stuff.
Okay.
Like, this is that. Those are the props that we'll be picking this week.
Man. I'd rather do something food.
I understand that, but the food options were all – none of them intrigued me in any way. They were all – the only one that was particularly interesting was the sauerkraut juice one, and I couldn't tie it into the Super Bowl in any capacity.
It's because
yeah. You know what? I'm asking, but I'm not really asking.
It's because the Chiefs played in Germany this year.
What?
Yeah. That's why we have to do a sauerkraut cocktail or whatever.
Look at it again. Let me go back.
And then the Niners. Well, yeah. No. What else was in that thing?
Hang on. Let me go back. That was the only one.
What are they known for in San Francisco? Obviously,
rice-a-roni. That's what everybody's known for in San Francisco. Sauerkraut juice, ketchup.
Oh, I wish these were real. I just found this.
What's that?
I just sent it in there. Pickle Reese's.
Oh, they're not real. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, they're not.
I wish they were real.
I agree. Speck of pepper, salt to taste. Yeah, sure. This will make it taste good. And you found that you can actually get sauerkraut juice somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did. And we can do.
All right,
we'll
here's
find another bet.
This would be my trade-off.
I
would say we can
still do the showgirl thing. You got to drink the.
No,
cocktail.
I would say we could do this, but also a peanut butter jelly and sauerkraut sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly.
2. You have to eat 2 peanut butter jelly and sauerkraut sandwiches.
I mean, okay. 2 peanut butter jelly. I mean, all right.
There's no way that's good, right? Like,
definitely not the second one.
There's no way. You have to consume this cocktail. And
so sauerkraut, 1 can of sauerkraut
yes,
juice.
Yes.
Jar, whatever we find.
One, yeah. What glass of? We're gonna make a glass of sauerkraut.
Condiment
juice.
sauce. So that's where we'll do whatever. Ketchup, barbecue, whatever. Yeah, Kansas City. So barbecue sauce. We'll make that barbecue sauce, right?
No, ketchup. I think is what we agreed to.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think we should do grosser. Then we should make it mayonnaise. That's what we should do.
The Niners win mayonnaise.
No. We should stop it. It needs to be. It needs to be a punishment. It needs to be gross. Mayonnaise is the answer.
Jesus Christ. Ugh.
And then we do sauerkraut. Then we do peanut butter jelly, mayonnaise, and sauerkraut.
Gross.
That's Griffin. That's the concept. It's supposed to be gross.
Sauerkraut and mayo. 2 of those.
2 of those. You have to have 2
to nurse your, and then you get a cocktail to wash it down.
And a cocktail,
or to while you're doing it.
All right. Are we in agreement?
That's yes.
Send it out to the boys.
Right.
Send it out. Anyone who says no, I don't think I want him around anymore. And Stecca's going to Stecca, but he's going to say no. That's the problem. Stecca's going to say no. That's one of the issues that I'm dealing with. I would say, let's see how many people say no. And then we'll reconsider whether we include them in the league next year. But no, Stecca wants out, so I don't want that. I don't want Stecca out of the league. He's got to stay because we had rules about that. He's got to stay. All right, that's my plan, and then we'll do picks tomorrow, and those are the stakes. All right? I was going to think if somebody said no, do we allow them the other punishment as a backup? Do we give them that option?
Yeah, I guess we could.
I don't know, because then we're letting everybody choose, and I don't like that. I think we have to get everybody on board. It's 2 sandwiches. It's not an extraordinary amount of food. It's just gross. I'm out on extraordinary amounts of food punishments. I won't do that anymore. I I can't live that way.
We'll make you eat Taco Bell at some point.
No, thank you.
$20 a Taco Bell.
I am good. All right, that'll be
might
the
just
plan.
disintegrate.
Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of PressBox, still available. We're only down to days that this print issue of PressBox is available. It's our best of issue. Go get it for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. What you got?
All right, so I put it off long enough. Travis Kelce, he is okay at the football. He had his 12th career playoff game of 80 receiving yards, which is the most all-time. And it is, of course, the most since 1990. So I want to see if you can round out the top 10 here. Most games with 80 receiving yards in a playoff game since 1990. So Kelsey has the most, and then there's
80 yards
80 receiving
since
yards.
1990.
Yes. Most playoff
Most
games.
playoff games. Well, that's interesting. Wes Welker.
Not Wes Welker.
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman is number 2 on this list.
Gronk.
Gronk is number 4 on the list.
How many I need to get?
We're doing 10. So you got 3 with Kelsey,
Jeez.
Edelman, Gronk.
Okay. Andre Reed.
No, not Andre Reed.
Isaac Bruce.
Not Isaac Bruce. I guess. Okay.
That definitely falls within since 1990, Chief. Hey.
All those years they blend together.
Marvin Harrison.
Not Marvin Harrison.
Reggie Wayne.
Not Reggie Wayne.
Torrey Holt.
Not Torrey Holt.
Hines Ward.
Hines Ward is on this list with 6.
I was trying to go with the teams that were in the playoffs the most. Donald Driver.
No Donald Driver.
Greg Jennings.
No Greg
Is there a
Jennings.
Packer?
There is no Packer.
Okay, let's move on.
There is a Colt that you missed.
Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark.
That is random AF.
6 games.
Is there a Ram that I missed?
No.
I assume there's not another Chief, right?
No.
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin, number 3 on this list. So there you go. You got the top 4. And the rest.
Is there another Cowboy?
There is no.
Randy Moss.
Not Randy Moss.
I mean, that's not that surprising opportunity. Is there a Viking?
Yes.
Stephon Diggs?
Not Stephon
Chris
Diggs.
Carter?
Chris Carter. 6 games. We had 6 guys tied for 5th here with 6 games. So Hines Ward, Chris Carter.
Rod Smith.
Did you say? Did I just give you one?
Who?
I just said it. Okay. Then
No,
maybe
you
didn't.
said Chris Carter and Hines Ward, right?
Okay.
I got those.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Dallas Clark. He had 6 as
Yeah.
well. No, not Rod. Rod Smith had 5.
Ed McCaffrey.
Isaac Bruce had 5, by the way, as well.
Ed McCaffrey.
No Ed.
Shannon Sharp.
No Shannon Sharp.
Is there a Bronco?
No Bronco.
Okay. Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes. Larry Fitzgerald. 6 games.
Is there another Cardinal?
No.
Terrell Owens.
Not Terrell Owens.
Is there a Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice.
It was always going to be dicey going into the
Yeah.
90s.
He had 6.
All right.
So one more.
I've got 2 left.
You said Jerry Rice.
Oh, because we're counting Kelsey.
Yeah, counting Kelsey.
All right. How about
Rice had 10 in his career, by the way.
Steve Smith?
Steve Smith Sr. is the final one, the round at the top 10. Well done. Well done.
Look at that.
Anquan Bolton had 5 in his
Killing
career.
it.
Reggie Wayne did have 5 in his career as
Killing it
well.
over here.
Stephon Diggs is at 4 at the moment.
Let's see how this is going. All right. John is mad that it's not a regional thing. John, we tried. We tried, Chief. We tried. All of the responses were terrible. Nobody was coming up with good regional options. So we did what we did. All right? I don't need it. I don't need it. It's a yes or no question. It's like, would you rather Wednesday? And people trying to be like, I would go sign Ryan Stanek for the boy. I didn't ask. I said, you got to do one or the other. Pick one. That's it. Jesus. Just say yes. Just say I'm in.
Do I send them the other option or
No.
just- okay.
No.
Okay.
We say, this is what we're doing. We tried. We attempted. We didn't coalesce around a good idea. This is what we came up with. Deal with it. Got it? We can cut the crust off to make them Uncrustables. The peanut butter jelly. Because the Uncrustables was going to be a play. So we can cut the crust off, and we can make them homemade Uncrustables. You don't have to offer that. But offer it. I don't care. I don't care. Everybody's annoying me today. Tidbit was also brought to you today by Superbook. Superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. Use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up. You'll receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match. Win or lose from Superbook. And download the Superbook app. Get in on all of the many props, and we'll be diving into some of those in our picks segment tomorrow. Tubular brought to you by, this one's brought to you by the Green Turtle. Big week at the Green Turtle.
Absolutely, always is, especially on Thursday nights, and where they are offering you a free $10 bet at the Green Turtle Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. And you experience the ultimate destination for game day excitement, great food, and live in-person betting. So get out to the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton. Go pick up your free bet and make some money while enjoying some food and sports tomorrow night at the Green Turtle Sportsbooks.
All right, very good. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular. Loyola and Navy hoops in action. Loyola at American, 7 o'clock. Navy hosts Bucknell at 7 on ESPN Plus for both. Big Ten hoops tonight, Wisconsin, Michigan at 7, Nebraska, Northwestern at 9 on Big Ten Network. All the rest of the college basketball find at glennclarkradio.com. Monumental Cavaliers, Wizards at 7 o'clock, ESPN Warriors, Sixers at 7:30, Pelicans, Clippers at 10, TNT, Lightning, Rangers at 7, Wild Blackhawks at 9:30. TBS for AEW Dynamite tonight at 8. Some non-sports highlights?
Not a whole lot. Abbott Elementary is back.
That's a highlight.
Abbott Elementary Season 3 is back, of course, preceded by The Connors, Season 6. Big ABC's the night where you got to be tonight. Judge Steve Harvey at 10, all on ABC. Other than that, not really anything. The Marvels comes to streaming on Disney+.
Even watching it for free is not.
Those are your highlights. Impractical Jokers is back tomorrow. So that'll be the highlight of tomorrow, obviously.
Good for the four
title.
of you that like Impractical Jokers. Actually, it's a lot of people that like Impractical Jokers, and it's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
For what?
It's just not.
Because we enjoy being entertained.
It's just not that good. They seem like nice enough guys. They seem like swell fellas. I had the one on the show. He was a very nice guy.
You miss Joe, don't you? You wish Joe would
I
come
don't
back.
know what Joe is. Joe Flacco?
Joe Gatto.
Sure. God bless. I watched the show and I was like, what am I missing? Like what?
I guess a sense of humor.
Nothing. We talked about it during trivia on Monday night because my cousin's kid is playing with us now. He's about your age, and I think and he's not a big fan of the show either. But like he was trying to talk about its popularity. I was like, I think it might be difficult for the jackass generation to accept. Like as I said, I can't do the forced fake like bits because
Nothing fake or forced.
no, they're
about.
very fake and they're very forced. I can't do it because I saw Jackass. Like, it ruined it for me. Like, that ruined my ability to watch scripted, which is, you can't do, the stuff they did on Jackass, you can't do to people today. There's lawsuits. Like, we've just changed as a society. The only way to do this is to do it scripted and fake. Like, that's the only way to go about doing it. Again, they seem like nice guys. They seem to be having fun, the whole thing, but it's just not good television. Like, it's just a thing that exists. That's all I can give it.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I know you do. I know you do.
And I think, you're just going to be wrong about this.
No.
Just add it to the list.
Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks to David Schoenfield and to Bo Smolka. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh, my God. It's so good.
tab at glennclarkradio.com.
John Proctor mentioned doing a sauerkraut, or not sourdough toast, so that there's a San Francisco time.
We're trying really hard, man. We're trying so hard. Sure, why not? Fine. Just say yes so we can move on from the I just need to get to the part where everybody's on board. Because if somebody's putting up a particular stink about it, then we're not going to include them in
John Proctor's in. I mean, we know John and Little Rock will be in.
Yeah, John and Little Rock will be in. He's just being a jerk about it. Instead of just saying, fine, I'm in. We're going to Jeremy will be in. Jeremy will do anything.
Ken will be in.
Ken will absolutely put up a stink about it now because he's just that's who he is. But I think ultimately he'll be in. Like ultimately we'll have to come on, Ken. He'll be in. And if he's not, then he doesn't get to be a part of the segment tomorrow. I don't know about Paul Valley. Paul's been so checked out of this show. Like he's still doing the bat around, and I appreciate
miss with
that.
Stuff.
I don't know what to make of Paul or Kyle. I have no idea.
I was gonna say
Ryan Chell will say yes just because he likes being a part of it. He'll say yes. I think he's flying to Vegas right now, so I don't think he'll respond for a little while. And who else am I forgetting about?
Dr. Nick Kelly.
Nick Kelly. Nick Kelly will be in. Yeah. He'll be in. Yeah.
Is that everyone? Stecca
might
say no.
Stecca will absolutely say no, and we'll tell him he doesn't have a choice. Is the way that will go. Say, Andrew, you're doing it. That's the way it goes. Love you. You're doing it. All right. We'll do picks with KZ, maybe with KZ tomorrow. We'll see as we go over Super Bowl props. All right, very good. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors. Oh, what else is tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Wink Martindale's going to
Wink
join us
Martindale will
tomorrow.
join us. Jim Bowden.
Yeah, Jim Bowden will talk more about the possibility of the Orioles trying to lock down some of their guys, like the Bobby Witt contract. And Wink Martindale will tell us more about Zach Orr, obviously, who he worked with here in
I guess we'll
Baltimore.
fight with KZ because
yeah.
sure he wants to fire.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sakes. God. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, Live Casino and Hotel, Mother's North Grill, A.J. Michaels, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, Costa Sin, Superbook, Glory Days Grill, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Loyola, go Navy, Duke sucks.